All right. All right, can you hear me? Hello?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me? How are you?
Yeah, doing good.
Good. Okay. Good. We're just getting everyone settled in for the first at 10. We'll start at 10:15.
Sure.
In about 10 minutes.
Yep.
And we're just but you can hear me now, right?
I can hear you fine.
Okay, fine. I'm going to be off camera because for the most part, because I'm having some difficulties over here so I don't want to use too much bandwidth. I think I was testing it before, and when I came on video, it wasn't really working very well. So I am going to be off camera for the most part until I do my presentations, but I will be able. You can see me here. Hi. Okay, I'm here, but it might be a lag involved. So I'm probably gonna stay off camera for the most part. But I just want to make sure that everything goes smoothly. So I was testing it, and then my Wi-Fi was giving me some problems. But I might stay off camera. But I wanted to make sure that everything's going to go smooth. So um, I'm going to just. So I'm using my phone, and then I'm also going to use my laptop because my laptop's giving me problems. I don't know why. So I'm on my phone right now. I'm using StreamYard on my phone, which is it's coming in clear and coming in better. But I was having some problems with my laptop. So I'm using my phone right now. So and I think so it's everything a little bit smoother. Yes. So go ahead.
Okay, can I just try sharing my screen? Make sure that works okay.
Sure, go ahead. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Okay. Into my screen. Okay, got it. All right. All right. Do you see that okay?
Yes.
All right. Cool. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
And so just let me know when you want me to start. And presenter, the timings I got from Alex, you want me to talk for around 25 minutes or something like that? Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, you have a half an hour, 25 minutes or so. Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. And do you want to take Q&A? I'm happy either way. Is your format kind of interactive, or do you just keep a presentation?
Yeah, we'll keep it interactive. You can do your presentation. Yes, but then we can have it where you can have some comments and be interactive after you finish your presentation. But I guess it's probably better just to have your presentation just to go straight through. Do the presentation, and then we can interact after you do your presentation.
You're muted, Neil. There you go.
Yep. Just let me know. If you want me to go faster or slower, I'm happy to do whatever.
Okay, I appreciate it. Yeah. So basically, I'm going to I'll welcome in everyone, and then I'll throw it off to Adrian. Adrian will speak, and then he'll introduce you, Neil, and then we'll go from there.
Sounds great.
Okay, so I think I have. Okay, good. All right, so I'm on both. Okay, I'm on my laptop and on my phone. So, but I think everything's going well now. Okay, good. All right, so I can come on camera here, but it's probably gonna. But I'm using my cell phone to come on camera because there's problems with my laptop. It's too laggy. it's kind of laggy here now too. Anyway, with
This
my
is solid for me.
see the lag on my I'm having a problem here. So but the audio was fine, but it's just my camera is just kind of laggy. So I'm just gonna. It'll be easier if I stay off screen because it won't look right. I'm having some problems here with my lag with the lag, but so I don't have to really be on screen anyway. I'm just really just introducing people and letting people know about the speakers and yourself. So thanks everyone for coming, and we'll get started in a few minutes. So we'll get people in, let people settle in. We'll start in about 5 minutes.
Okay.
Sweet.
Yep.
Right. All right. Thank you.
It's good to meet you, Adrian. You seem to
Likewise,
do some cool stuff.
Yeah. I have fun. I mean, not as cool as you, obviously. I mean, you're doing incredible work.
No, it's a different kind of fun, I think.
It's as long as you enjoy it, whatever the fun is, as long as you find excitement in it.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to follow. In fact, let me actually connect with you on LinkedIn as we have some time.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Let's see. Your profile. Oh, I'm actually pending. I already sent you a request.
Oh, really?
Yeah, let me just send you a message.
Yeah, cool.
Cool.
So just on the StreamYard thing, I have a blue button here that says stream this to the audience, but you're going to take care of that part, right? Or do you need me to press that button?
Yeah, I think so. That's if we want to stream it to our own individual audiences as well.
Okay.
I believe.
Right.
I could be wrong, but David will take care of that regardless.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's correct. Yes, you can use that. Yeah, you can use that blue button if you want to send it on your own to your own media platforms like Facebook or your own YouTube channel or your own LinkedIn.
I see.
That's awesome. What you have the capability to also. I'm doing that. It's on my YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and then all the guests can do the same.
Okay.
Sweet.
If you want to. Yes. Right.
All right, cool. I just sent you that message, Neil.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'll look out for that.
No worries. How you doing, Sophia?
Fine, thanks. And you?
Doing well, thank you.
Where are you from?
California, born and raised. Yeah.
Nice.
Yourself?
Mexico City.
Oh, nice. Okay. And Neil, where are you from?
Well, I'm based in the Bay Area in California.
Okay.
I'm originally from the UK, though. My accent confuses people.
Nice.
I've always wanted to go to Mexico City. That's on my bucket list.
Likewise. I hear it's gorgeous. I hear it's just like gorgeous.
Yeah, it's very beautiful city. It has, I don't know how many people lives in Los Angeles and area.
Mm-hmm.
But well, we have 29 millions at the city, so it has a very beautiful places, but it's very complex because all the population that we have is
Yes.
It's a lot.
It makes that mess. Yeah. I was talking yesterday with one of my friends, and we say that maybe one neighborhood called here Colonia del Valle is of the same size than Amsterdam.
Wow.
And it's why one and that, for example, the state of Chihuahua at the north is the same as Spain.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite a thing.
That's a lot of that's a lot of people. That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's very, very beautiful. And I have been in there in California several times, and well, it's a very good place to live. No, the only thing that you have now is that the prices has increased a lot, and a lot of population is moving to Florida now.
Yes, we pay for the weather for sure. I'm in Southern California, so it's usually between 68 and 75 at all times of the year. So it's great. You know, it's what, winter or fall, and it was 90 yesterday. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's been hot. But we
Yeah.
like to joke, the only time you know when the seasons change is when you can get the pumpkin spice latte at Starbucks.
That's it. That's genuinely it. Yes.
Seems to be earlier every year. Yeah, they're doing the pumpkin. Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So, all right. So, thank you, everyone. So, yeah, let's start it. It's
Cool.
10:15. So, this is welcome, everyone. This is the first live stream event that we're doing with the Metaverse Standards Forum and and my meetup group in Los Angeles. And my name's David Whiting, and I just became a member of the Metaverse Standards Forum about a year ago, and I've been very happy to get to know everyone. And I brought this up. This was planned as something to get more people involved, and I asked the contacts at the Metaverse Standards Forum if they would help me put together an educational event on the metaverse, and they said yes. And so everyone has been very cooperative and been helping out to get this done. And it's been some time in the making, but we've been able to coordinate everyone. And what we're doing today is having two talks and some presentations. We're going to talk about the metaverse in two different ways. One way is metaverse and smart cities, and how by 2030, UNESCO and the United Nations are looking at having the goal, a voluntary goal of 10,000 cities connected to the metaverse and creating smart cities. A smart city doesn't have to be connected to the metaverse, but the metaverse does make smart cities more efficient, and we'll go into that. That's going to be one panel. The second panel will be the brand loyalty in the metaverse and the challenges of taking new technology and bringing it over to your consumer base or your fan base if you're an entertainer. So a lot of entertainers now are doing metaverse concerts and doing and experimenting in the metaverse. Musicians and different entertainers are going into the metaverse and trying to use the metaverse. But we want to talk about, are they bringing their original fan base into the metaverse, or are they picking up new fans who are using the metaverse and then finding them out, that way? So are the entertainers having the original fans that they have moving over to the metaverse and watching them, or is it a totally different group of people who are seeing them and getting attracted to what they're doing on the metaverse? So there's a lot of challenges with brand loyalty and trying to keep people aware of the technology and the promise of the metaverse. So we'll be talking about those two areas. And then we'll also talk about the Metaverse Standards Forum and what the Metaverse Standards Forum is all about, and what its goals and what its aims are, and basically what the future is. So, with that being said, I want to introduce the people on the panel and the guests, and one of the panelists who will be doing the welcome remarks is Adrian Rashad Driscoll. and he's also a member of the Metaverse Standards Forum.
Mhm.
And I'm going to let him take it from here, and then he can introduce himself and talk a little bit about himself and what he's doing with the Metaverse Standards Forum.
Sweet. Thank you, David. Hey, everybody. My name is Adrian Rashad Driscoll. I am a world-leading XR expert. I'm a storyteller by nature, so filmmaking and television and film is my background. The metaverse is very, very interesting, right? Because you've heard so much hype over the last maybe year and a half, 2 years. And, although hype is great, it's just that it's a flash in the pan, it's hype, but what you're seeing now at this stage of the metaverse are the people who stayed. They didn't do it for the gimmick. They didn't do it for the potential financial opportunity. They saw that this can be life-changing for a lot of people. It can create accessibility. It can create inclusion. It can create a sense of self-presence, right? And I think I'd be remiss if I didn't give it up to everybody watching, as well as all the other people who have been a big part of this and establishing this. And one of the people who's actually worked very hard to establish the ecosystem, right? The actual backbone and structure of the metaverse is the man right here I'm about to introduce. Everybody, please give it up to Mr. Neil Trevett.
Thank you, Adrian. It's an honor to be here. Thank you to you and to David, and hello to Sophia too here on the panel. So I'm going to spend just a few minutes. I really appreciate the opportunity to bring everyone up to speed on what the Metaverse Standards Forum is and what we're trying to achieve, and hopefully, as Adrian says, encourage folks to get involved. You'll be very welcome. So let me just introduce who I am. I'm Neil. So my day job is actually at NVIDIA. I'm VP of Developer Ecosystems there. I've been working in standards for a long time. I've been the president of the Kronos group, which does standards like OpenGL, WebGL, GLTF, OpenXR. That's been going for a long time. But most recently, I've also, as Adrian was saying, helped establish, and I'm currently serving as the president of the Metaverse Standards Forum. So I've been involved in standards for a long time. So as Adrian just said, the Metaverse is an interesting concept. There's been a lot of hype. I don't think anyone really knows what the Metaverse is going to be in its final form. We're on a voyage of discovery together. But I think the Metaverse is real because at its core, it's bringing together the connectivity of the web with the immersiveness of spatial computing. And it's going to do that by combining multiple disruptive technologies that are kind of coming onto the scene around the same time. And it's creating this nexus of innovation and opportunity. So there's the GPU side, as well as the graphics, there's the real-time simulation and compute. There's the whole XR, virtual and augmented reality innovation curve. There's Web3, which is going through its own hype cycle, pluses and minuses, but at its core, it's a way of creating decentralized trust and storage. There's advanced networking, we going from 5G to 6G and beyond, high bandwidth, low latency, wherever we are. And probably most importantly, and it's kind of I call it the pixie dust that you sprinkle on everything, artificial intelligence, machine learning, making natural user interfaces possible, and machines understanding where they are, talking to you, enabling folks to create user-generated content much more easily than they did before. You smoosh all these together, something interesting is going to happen. And the metaverse is currently the label that most people are using, to trying to communicate this convergence. It is interesting to see how people are going to use metaverse. I think you can split metaverse use cases into consumer and enterprise. So I think it has huge potential in education. The big thing is enabling users to create their own content. You already see it in platforms like Fortnite and Roblox. having people build their own content and bring it into games, like, for example, Microsoft Flight Simulator. You can build your own planes and buildings and bring it in. Augmented reality. Eventually, we're going to get augmented reality glasses that look very normal, and that has the potential to replace the mobile phone, and just online gaming socialization of all kinds. Probably, though, we're going to see the first real deployments in enterprise, because there's more budget available, there's more direct line to money. So I think a lot of these use cases are already being deployed. We're not needing to wait. Augmented reality for guided tasks and remote assistance, spatially indexing and digitizing the whole world, including cities, smart cities that was mentioned earlier, virtual sports leagues and immersive sports events, training. I mean, already virtual reality has enormous benefits to people doing complex training scenarios. Digital twins, where you have a digital representation of a process or a plant, and you monitor it and simulate it. That's already being deployed today. And platforms like my own company, NVIDIA, Omniverse, enabling multiple designers to come from all over the world and cooperate in real time in a virtual environment. These are some of the use cases that are being shipped right now today. So, how will the metaverse evolve? There's been a number of organizations trying to promote the metaverse that have taken the approach to say, okay, we're going to try and define the long-term plan. I don't. At the Metaverse Standards Forum, we believe much more in a kind of a bottom-up process. It's very hard to forecast in this kind of chaotic in the mathematical sense, this chaotic system, all these innovations coming together. I think asking someone what the metaverse is going to be like in 20 years' time, it's like sitting someone down in front of the Netscape browser in 1994, with the blinking text, if you remember that, if you're old enough, and asking them to imagine Uber and Amazon. It's just impossible to know how this is going to evolve. But what we do know, again, is all these technologies are coming together. We're about to go into this big, glorious Darwinian melting pot where we're going to try all kinds of experiments. The successful experiments will gain momentum, and we're going to find ways of having to bring these technologies to work together, and that's going to take interoperability standards. And the promise of interoperability, is more than just a nice idea. It's really central to the commercial momentum and the technical momentum of what we're calling the metaverse. If we can get decentralized trust and storage, we're not going to be dependent on single walled gardens. If we can have interoperable objects and avatars, we're going to be able to have a networked economy, which is much larger than any individual experience or environment on the metaverse. And if we can travel seamlessly between different spaces, then we're beginning to build this vision of something much larger than just individual products and services that are siloed off from everyone else. And standards are the only way to make this kind of platform ubiquitous. I like to use the example of my PC right now is plugged into the wall socket. That is a whole standards ecosystem. The electricity system is become so ubiquitous we just take it for granted. But that was due to the work of standards heroes 100 years ago. The PC that many of us are using right now takes hundreds of standards, both hardware and software, to come together. And the complexity of the metaverse, we're going to need a constellation of standards. And standards are built by standards organizations. And there are many, many standards organizations all doing great work. And we're going to need scores, even hundreds of these standards organizations to come together and cooperate to make sure there are no gaps or duplication, ideally, in the standards that we need to build this metaverse platform. And we keep saying open standards. What does it mean? Well, in my view, an open standard means that it's open to everyone who wishes to participate in their creation. They're created under transparent, well-defined multi-company governance. There's no one company that has dictatorship rights, and there's no restrictions on who can use the standards and adopt them. Free, open and free means there's no charge for using the standards. And you can tell a successful standard when it gets widely adopted throughout the industry, because people want to use it. Standards adoption is always voluntary. A good standard is adding value, and people want to use it. There's a lot of confusion around open standards and open source. You might have heard both terms. People think they're the same thing. They're actually quite different, but they're very complementary and often used together. Open source is when you have multiple contributors feeding into a single shared implementation. And that can be great when everyone just wants to use a single implementation. You can share the load on creating that piece of technology. An open standard is different. An open standard enables multiple implementations by multiple implementers, because you have a very carefully defined specification that anyone can take and implement on their own, typically with conformance tests. And that is the way for a particular piece of technology, if you want it to be pervasively implemented and used throughout the industry, different geographies, markets, price points, different implementation techniques, that kind of healthy competition, an open standard is the right tool. But again, both are super useful, and we're going to need both in the metaverse. But it's kind of cool to know the difference and know when to use the right tool for the right job. The other big question we often get is, how are we going to prevent walled gardens? There are companies out there who want to use proprietary products and technologies. Is this bad? Shouldn't everyone always be using open standards? The answer is no. And open standards are great at the right point and the right time, but we need proprietary products too. It's often proprietary products that are experimenting at the bleeding edge and are figuring out what's possible with new technologies, doing R&D. You don't want to do R&D by standardization committee. We've tried it. Don't do it. It's horrible because we don't know what the problem is, and we don't know what the best way to solve it. So getting multiple companies together, it's too soon. Standards come into their own when a piece of technology has been widely deployed, widely understood. It's just everyone's doing it in a slightly different way, and that's become no longer a competitive advantage. It's become a real frustration and a friction point in the industry. That's the time to create a interoperability open standard. So it's a constant cycle, and we need both proprietary technologies and open standards to be healthy and doing their own thing. So this brings us to the forum. So we've seen that the metaverse is going to combine all of these technologies, and getting technologies to work together takes interoperability standards. We want to build this larger networked economy beyond the scope of just a series of disconnected silos on the internet, and that is going to take interoperability. And again, if you take the view that the metaverse is the evolution of the web, the web is a platform that is built on the very foundation of open interoperability standards. So whichever way you come at the metaverse, interoperability is key. We need this constellation of standards involving hundreds of standards organizations. The genesis of the Metaverse Standards Forum was the realization that surprisingly, perhaps, there was no one place where all of these organizations and the industry could come together to actually cooperate on how we are going to build the standards network that we need. And that's the idea of the Metaverse Standards Forum. So the Metaverse Standards Forum is unique, and it's kind of new. To our best knowledge, this is the first time this has ever been tried in this kind of way. So we're learning as we go, and we really appreciate everyone's participation and helping us figure this out. The key thing, if you remember one thing from my talk this morning, is it's the Metaverse Standards Forum is not another standards organization. Now, that would just be adding to the number of organizations that need to a place to coordinate. The forum is a place to help the existing standard organizations do a good job, and the forum does not create standards itself. But this means we can be a very neutral forum and welcoming to all standards organizations, because our mission is to help them create the standards that we all need. So we have free membership tiers. There's no NDA. Everything we do is public. There's no patent licensing obligations, because we're not creating standards that typically need an IP framework. And again, we're not trying to create the top-down plan. It's that would be too presumptuous. We're just trying to be very pragmatic and active and agile, created to industry needs, and finding where there are interoperability problems and gaps that we can help solve today. And that creates like this wavefront of momentum and commercial opportunity. So the pink blocks on the right there on the slide there, the existing standards organizations, they're the ones doing the heavy lifting of creating these standards. The Metaverse Standards Forum is trying to help them with use cases, requirements, resources, expertise, input from the wider industry. The Metaverse Standards Forum does create some products. They're not standards, but a standards register, a database of standards, so people can navigate the metaverse landscape. Technical reports, interoperability, plug fests, open source tooling, guidelines, and video libraries for education. All these are things that we can do without competing with the standards organizations. So the other part of the genesis story was the forum was originally bootstrapped by the Kronos Group, which is the group I'm the president of, that's been doing standards for many years, many of which are relevant to the metaverse. Now, we found a lot of folks coming to Kronos saying, we're interested in the metaverse, Kronos standards are good, but there are many other standards. Now, where do we go to find out the bigger picture? That was kind of the realization that maybe we needed a forum like the Metaverse Standards Forum. We launched back in 2022, and we launched with 37 companies. I thought we were going to get up to like 50 and we could start doing work. And we've ended up with over 2,500 member organizations, which kind of speaks to, I think, the level of interest in creating a standards-based open metaverse platform. And then in April this year, so we're still very young, but in April this year, we incorporated as a standalone non-profit industry consortium. So the 2,500 members, and it continues to grow. It's a real diverse mix, both geographically, and it's companies from all over the world. There are standards organizations, there are platforms like Meta, and Microsoft and Sony and Google. There are tools and engines, Adobe, Autodesk, Epic, Unity are all there. All the XR companies are there, a lot of the hardware companies, the networking companies, 3D commerce folks are here, lots of universities. We have Stanford and many others, a lot of advocacy organizations. And again, any company or organization is welcome to join. The potential downside of having so many members, particularly when we don't really know what the metaverse is going to be, is we could, and the whole thing could descend into chaos if we're not very careful. So we've tried to be thoughtful about how we do organize and use this opportunity for cooperation. So we, when we started, we created a kind of 3-step program. The first thing we did was to poll the membership themselves. Again, this ground up approach, asking the membership, what do you want to solve in terms of interoperability standards? Now, what are your pain points? Where do you see the opportunities? And we immediately got a list of over 200 different topics. And that list is publicly available if you go to the Metaverse website. Those topics naturally kind of grouped into what we call domains, interoperable 3D assets, avatars, XR and user interface. That you can see the list there in the middle. And then we asked the members to upvote which of those domains which are most interesting to them. And then we are in the process of creating multiple domain groups that take a domain and figure out what are the best pragmatic projects that we can undertake to advance the state of interoperability in that particular domain. And this is the pipeline that we have. Again, all this information is up on the website. So we have a pipeline where we ask people to propose groups. For example, the industrial metaverse is a big one, a big topic. And then if there's a lot of interest, we create what we call an exploratory group, which is any member who's interested can join the exploratory group. Their mission is to create the charter of what a working group would be, what would be the goals, what would be the work items. Building that consensus is often a vital step to making sure we really understand what is the problem we're trying to solve with this particular domain group. And then once the charter is reviewed and approved by the membership, then we have a domain group. And the blue groups here are the working groups that are already up and running. And you can see we have the group making the standards register. That's the database of standards. The number one topic that came up on top by quite a long margin over any of the technical interoperability was privacy, cybersecurity, and identity. And I think that really speaks to the industry's interest in maybe not making all the same mistakes as we made with Web 2.0 social media. There's groups on GLTF, USD interoperability. There are two of them. GLTF and USD are two of the most widely used asset formats for 3D, making sure that they work closely together, bringing 3D into the web, avatars, digital twins, networking. You can read the list there. But this is a very dynamic list that hopefully will be responsive to industry needs as we move forward. We already have first deliverables, although we just incorporated just a few months ago. The first version of the Metaverse Standards Register, that's the database, is already available. The link there, you can go check it out. It's the first stage where we're just listing the organizations that are creating standards. Soon we'll add all of the projects and standards that they're creating. That's coming very soon. We also have a video library. A lot of the working groups have been inviting industry experts on giving updates on best practices and where they see the needs for interoperability. That library is also publicly available, so go check that out. Just to give a taste for a couple of the working groups, won't spend too long, but GLTF and USD, again, are two of the most widely used 3D asset formats. USD is coming from Pixar and now has the AOUSD, which is Standards Organization, turning that Pixar open source into open specifications so it can be more widely implemented across multiple markets. So that's a very interesting and vital step. USD is coming from Pixar's direction, which is making movies, so very complex authoring environments. And then GLTF, which is actually a Kronos standard, is coming from exactly the opposite direction. Very efficient runtime transmission of formats. Once you've done all the authoring, you can kind of publish in GLTF and get it out there across millions of devices and websites very easily. So there will be lots of potential for confusion and overlap here. So we have the working group that's doing a good job in getting good alignment and cooperation between these two important standards. For example, this is one of the projects we're contemplating. We say that we want USD and GLTF to be compatible. Well, let's try it. Let's try authoring some assets in USD, distilling them out into GLTF, taking them into a runtime environment and see whether all of the interactivity and 3D graphics actually works. I'm sure we'll find lots of problems, but that's great data to feed back into the standards organizations creating those standards, saying, this is where the gaps are, this is where the issues are, and hopefully that will be super helpful for them to get those standards improved for everyone's benefit. And because the metaverse is 3D in the web, I think one of the most important working groups is beginning to really deep dive into, well, what do we need? What does that mean, bringing 3D into the web? Now, we have WebGL and WebGPU today, but looking forward, is that enough for the metaverse? Are we going to upgrade the existing browsers, or do we create a whole new type of web client? Are we going to use or expand or replace the HTML and DOM standards that everyone uses today? Can we adapt them, or do we need something different? These are all questions. I have no answers for any of these. Should we standardize the 3D APIs, or should we just stick with asset formats? Will WebGL and WebGPU have enough functionality for what we want to achieve in the metaverse, or do we need something more or better? Is JavaScript and WebAssembly going to be enough? Is the Internet Protocol Suite, all the layers below us, good enough? For example, is Quick a good enough transport layer for all of the things that we want to achieve in the metaverse? So these are all questions that need to be answered, because it's going to take a whole set of different standards organizations to come up with the solution. So we need this cooperative forum. The way the forum is organized, anyone can join for free, and that's the yellow layer at the bottom, and you can join in any of those domain groups that we were talking about. If you want to come in and pay a little to help us do what we do, you can come at the green level. That's the principal level. It's scaled fees. For a single person company, it's $50, so hopefully inclusive, up to $10,000 for the largest companies. We need some funding to do this work. So the folks that want to help manage and fund the forum come in at the green level. That lets them oversee the domain group process and be elected to the board. And I want to talk about, just briefly, I know I'm probably taking too long, but I'll just 2 more slides. Adrian mentioned the hype. That Metaverse absolutely is going through a hype cycle. It was in 2022, it was peak Metaverse. Lots of misperceptions. But as Adrian was saying, I do think we are benefiting now from not having the hype. And AI is the thing that's going to destroy the world right now. So it gives the metaverse a kind of a break, some space to do its thing. The hype is, we're going to live our lives in the metaverse. I don't think that's quite right. We will choose to use the metaverse when it and if it's engaging. So I don't think we're building a dystopian future where we're all more disconnected from each other. No, AR in particular can, I think, help bring us back together. There's some folks in the press, I think, over associate a single technology with the metaverse. So I don't think you're going to need a VR headset to plug into every part of the metaverse. There are going to be many experiences in the metaverse where you don't need a VR headset. VR headsets are going to create the most immersive and will definitely have their place. But you won't have to wear a headset all the time. I think the whole Web3 NFT crypto space has gone through some negative publicity, but Web3 at its core is decentralized ledgers. And I think the blockchain is not scammy. Some of the things that people have done with it have been scammy, but the technology is young and it will evolve into something that is useful. And, you see some very breathless market research that says that the metaverse is going to be worth trillions of dollars in the next few years. Well, I think as with many revolutions, it's going to take longer than we think, even if the impact is going to be larger than we first could imagine. So that's it. Again, I hope I haven't taken too long. Just to wrapping up, and the forum. Our mission is to help the industry cooperate to build the standards that we need, building this brick by brick. We like to say we're not trying to build the metaverse cathedral. We're trying to bake the bricks that we're going to need on the road to the metaverse. Things that we can identify that absolutely would add value. Today, we're not competing with standards organizations. We're not a standards organization. We're a place for the standards organizations to come and meet. We have this opportunity. We've been handed this opportunity of having so many participants around the world. We're trying hard not to waste that opportunity and to add value to the industry with this pragmatic bottom-up approach. And again, if there's any of this is interesting, you'll be most welcome to join. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much, Neil. That was very insightful, and it was very very comprehensive. Appreciate that very much. One thing, as I have a little time to ask you maybe a few questions, but so looking at that, one question I had was when you mentioned well, I have a few questions, but the first one is when you were talking about replacing, the most thing was replacing the glasses, using eyewear to replace smartphones. Could you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So XR, as I'm sure people here know, XR has two types of technology. There's virtual reality, which is you kind of shut yourself off and you're totally immersed in an immersive environment. And then there's augmented reality, which has some kind of pass through, either a video pass through. Some people call that mixed reality. But the pure AR is where you have transparent glass of some sort, and augmentations are being projected. So, but synchronized with the real world. So those augmentations can provide you 3D immersiveness in the real world, or information in like a head-up display. I think a lot of people have the dream that we can literally have something that is light and socially acceptable as a normal pair of glasses, and all of that is happening magically. There are a lot of real deep technical challenges. Laws of physics, it's optics and power consumption, battery life. I think it's going to take at least a decade, is my personal view, before we can truly have kind of AR on a pair of glasses that look like this. There are a lot of challenges still to go, but if we can get there, you can imagine having all of the information that we currently have to look down at our mobile phone screens for, being much more usefully projected into the real world. When we can, and a device is easy to wear and lasts all day, like a mobile phone does right now, you can imagine that being a lot more useful than the mobile phones that we have today. But I think it is realistic to say that we're nowhere near. I mean, there are things like the Ray-Ban glasses from Meta, but no, they're not trying to be AR. That's basically a recording device, which is an interesting first step.
Yes.
But we're on a path to get there. But it's don't bank on it happening right in the next year. It's going to take longer than that.
Yes. Okay. Yes. And okay. Thank you for that. Yeah, that's very interesting to see how that's going to progress as we move along and move forward. And can you talk a little bit more about also the because it's very important, and with me being here, I'm in Las Vegas right now, so all the what's going on is a lot of the casinos just got hacked very recently. So maybe you could talk a little bit more about the cybersecurity portion of it, and like you mentioned, like you said, people when we polled the members, that came up very high.
Yes, I think that is. I don't think it was an accident. I think that was a real piece of data that, of all those domains that we listed, it was privacy and cybersecurity came up number one. And it's an interesting domain because 3D asset interoperability is very much kind of just a engineering exercise, right? It's we know how to create technical engineering based interoperability specifications. The domain of cybersecurity and privacy definitely has a technical component, but also a legislative component too, because we can't solve everything in terms of cybersecurity just through technology, as all the hacks everyone has to suffer through. We need to work cooperatively with legislative bodies who give us, hopefully, cooperatively, a safe space for us to innovate in without getting ourselves into too much trouble. I think a lot of the folks that are working in that PCI group, privacy, cybersecurity, and identity, that they have a long history of advocating into legislative bodies. It's actually a very interesting analogy. When we say interoperability, we're normally kind of talking about the engineering standards. We need engineering level technical interoperability. We also need interoperability at legislative level. There's a kind of an analogy here because there are many domains, the EU, there's America, many other geographies throughout the world who are busy creating legislation that's relevant to the metaverse, and many of them are incompatible. It's going to create a real nightmare if someone who's shipping an online metaverse platform has to be compatible with 25 different legislative domains that are all slightly different. So it's actually it was a kind of a light bulb moment for me. I'm like, oh my goodness, the legislative community needs cooperation to make sure they're compatible, as well as the engineering community. And again, we have quite a broad participation from folks that are engaged. We have interest from ITU, United Nations, in leveraging some of the work that the forum is doing. So hopefully that the forum can add value in helping with the coordination in that domain, the legislative domain as well as the engineering domain.
Yes. Oh, yeah. So that's very interesting. You guys think about how different countries are going to try to make sure that cybersecurity is secure, and all the companies that are working along with the governments, that interoperability between governments and companies is make sure that all that cybersecurity and all the protection and privacy from individuals, companies, and the governments all are working, and that's very interesting because a lot of people are hesitant to do things like the metaverse because they're worried about losing their privacy and people hacking in, and there's so many hackers, and there's a lot of problems there.
And the stakes are much higher. Clicking on a 2D website gives away a lot, but putting on a VR helmet gives away an incredible amount of very personal and intimate data. And you mix that with AI and the potential for disinformation and bots that, do you know whether you're talking to a bot or a human? That whole new potential attack vectors open up. So, the stakes are higher. And it's in everyone's interest to bake this in from the get-go, because if the metaverse turns out to be a platform that no one can trust, no one is going to use it, and then everything that we're talking about will be for nothing. So it's a foundational piece, I do believe.
Yes. Yeah.
But can I add, Neil? Don't you feel that like a lot of people are afraid of it, right? And fear is not the correct approach either. Mm-hmm. Right. It's like anything else. You have to jump ahead of it, right? And start now. And I think there's so much friction. People are like, oh, you're going to steal my identity. You're going to steal and misinformation. But like doing what we're doing now is going to set that tone for the future, so we don't have those issues.
Yes. It's better to bolt the door before the horse bolts, right?
There you go. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, and and thank you, Neil. I did have one more question. I had one question regarding when you mentioned that the traction right now seems to be on the enterprise side. So that you said Meta and a lot of the large companies that are in the Metaverse consortium. Could you talk a little bit about how those large companies are moving and trying to work in the Metaverse?
Yes.
How being able to bring some other smaller companies and other people behind them.
Yes. It's a short lead. I'm not saying that we have to wait for everything else, but it's always interesting to find out where the beachhead applications for kind of new kind of platform and technology are, and I think you can identify digital twins as being where a lot of these technologies are coming together. Simulation, VR, real-time monitoring of resources, and AI, they are all coming together. So the concept of digital twin, again, is when you have a physical process or plant or a vehicle, like an oil tanker or something, and you put in instrumentation, so you can connect it in real time to a virtual simulated model. And when you can connect those two in real time, you can do planning. As before you've even built the physical model, you can do experiments with the virtual model and do simulations. Getting a factory floor most efficient. And when you have the physical model, you can do real-time monitoring and do early detection of any issues and optimizations. And if you can simulate the virtual process faster than real time, you can begin to do predictions of the future, and do load balancing, and so all the way through the life cycle of creating a large physical plant like a factory is kind of the use cases where it's being used today. You get advantages all the way through that life cycle, and the savings are if you do it successfully, the savings are enormous. So there's a real motivation for folks to do it, and that's why I think that's one of the places where all these technologies are coming together. But on the consumer side, the work that's going on in VR and the social games and platforms like Roblox, Minecraft, Fortnite, you definitely see the user creation of content. You see the social aspects coming together. There's a lot of good work going on there too. They're all currently isolated silos, so we need to break out of the silos into interoperable, either taking assets between or avatars between these. That's going to take not just technical interoperability, though. It's going to take business case interoperability, and we're going to need virtual customs posts, because you can take a 3D asset from one place to another in the metaverse. The first thing we're going to discover when we have solved that engineering problem is that you shouldn't do it in every case. There's going to be IP licensing rights, there's going to be age appropriateness, there's going to be aesthetics. Do you take your laser blaster into a medieval simulator? No, there are things you shouldn't be able to do. So we're going to need virtual customs posts, and how all the payment systems works out, hopefully with Web3. So it's a multi-stack interoperability problem. But solving the bits and bytes of the engineering interoperability is just the first layer of the interoperability and this is why it's going to take a while. This is a non-trivial set of problems that we need to solve.
Yes, it's very complex, but also it's very important that there's a consortium like this, so that people can put their minds, bring all the different ideas together, because because a lot of people and a lot of companies can go on their own tangents, and then nothing will be able to get connected. So that's very important with the interoperability aspect of it comes in, so that everyone is using kind of like the same kind of base, but then they can take from that base and then modify it to their own company or to their own needs.
Right.
Yes. Okay. Right. Okay. Thank you. All right. So thank you very much, Neil.
Sure.
And anybody else has any other questions for Neil, or we can move on? Does anybody have any other questions or insights? Okay. Yes.
Cool. Thank you, David. Thank you for this opportunity.
Okay. Thank you very much, Neil. Very nice to meet you, and appreciate it. And what we'll do now is we're going to move on to the next topic. So the different topics that we're going to explore, like I said in the beginning, we're going to also explore smart cities and the metaverse and how they interact with each other. So I guess what we're going to do is just keep moving forward as we can have the programming move forward. And so what we'll do now is we're going to talk about the metaverse and smart cities and sustainable cities. So basically, the premise is that a lot of cities are using technology, and like Neil was saying, a digital twins is also part of it. Is to take the city that we're talking about. Maybe one city that we're talking about is Santa Monica. Use that, and we're going to also talk about Mexico City, where Sophia is. So we're talking about the aspect of taking the technology to use to improve the life and to improve the needs of people in the urban landscape, and to make it more efficient, make all the resources that cities use, transportation, crime, statistics, power usage, all that can be taken and used and created with smart cities. So you can use, and smart cities can be used to take and use this technology to improve the lives of the residents in the city, and then also help out the city be more efficient. So from that point of view, what we want to do is talk about the smart city aspect, and I wanted to also bring in some other people into the talk, and so we have Sophia Gamboa, and she has background in smart cities. She's located in Mexico, and she's located in Mexico City. So I want to introduce Sophia Gamboa, and we can get to the topic of smart cities and talk with Sophia. Hi. Hello, Sophia.
Do you listen me?
Yeah. Okay.
Thank
Hey.
you.
Hi. Hi. How are you? Hi,
Fine,
Sophia.
thanks. And you? Thank you
I'm
for the
fine.
invitation.
Thank you.
Well, smart cities is a very, very hot topic, and everybody talks about smart cities. But the thing is that at the reality, it has a lot of cost and a lot of it has to be made by a lot of work, and that's when the problem begins. In Mexico City, well, Mexico country, as you may know, is a big country. The state of Chihuahua is the same as all Spain. One of the in Mexico City, we are 29 million people. The Colonia del Valle is a neighborhood. It's the same size as Amsterdam. So in this way, yes, in Mexico we have worked a lot of we have done a lot of effort in small cities and in smart cities, but then we find that by the size, the efforts are not enough. We as your the topic that you are inviting me today, metaverse in smart cities, maybe will be a well effort to make smart cities, because as I'm going to tell you, some people do 80% of the people that works in the more financial and enterprise districts in Mexico City, named Santa Fe or even Polanco, the 80% of the people do 2 hours every day for going to the work and 2 hours to back to the home, 4 hours in total. And in that size, well, smart cities, maybe we have a better transport. We are working with energy. we are working with a lot of things, but some of the apartments and where the people lives in near to that areas, because we are with by an ancient culture, and when Mexico City is established was the Gran Tenochtitlan, that you may know is very float land. Uh, the buildings are maybe made by two or three or maybe five four piece floors, what makes the price too high, and this makes that not everybody can live some apartments that already exist, as for example the apartments by Carso or by apartments of Reforma 222, where they are very well down building as China or American districts, and we have to work a little bit more. And as I told you before, maybe metaverse will be a very well complement to do a reality in this homework that the UN has given us to become a smart city by 2050. Thank you, David.
Okay, thank you. So that's about 25 years from now. So you think it's going to take that long to implement everything and bring everything into from the technology is going to take that long?
Well, the problem is, it's very complex to organize 29 million people with all this disparity of different income. You may know that in Mexico we have a very rich people, but also we have a very poor people. So if the government takes more seriously technology, and with then metaverse in producing this kind of cities, our goal will be in a shortened time, but we have to be very conscious in the different kind of levels of government, federal, estatal, and local, about the necessity of all these new technologies.
Oh, okay. So you think that it's going to take that long because there's a lot of different government layers, and then you have to get the people. You have to get the people to get um,
More
acclimated.
digital access.
Yeah.
You may know, since 3 years ago, there is an IMED, makes CDMX, that is the network by free, in all the city of Mexico City. The reality is that when you connect to it, it is very poor network, very poor. So Mexico government has to invest more over there and then apply and use new technologies.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yes.
Uh-huh.
And okay, I understand. Thank you. So um, in the Mexico. So you're in Mexico City. Maybe you could
Is
tell
that
tell us.
right?
Yeah, great. Yeah, and thank you for coming on. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're doing there, as well as your what you're doing with smart cities. And could you give us a little bit of background?
Well, thank you very much. Well, I represent a network named FinTech Connector. That is, in simple words, it's kind of a LinkedIn, but for the FinTech people, and I represent it in Mexico. Also, I give some consultancies about new technologies and smart cities. I have done some for some of different states in Mexico, like projects to how to become or how to uh, give a high performance to become a smart city. I have worked by for 5 states of the country in that topic, and and also I have the committee of new technologies and competitiveness of the Financial Mexican Institute.
Oh, okay. So you've been working on this for a while.
Yeah, I have the presidents over there since the beginning of this year.
Understood. Oh, okay. All right. And so when you're talking about Mexico City and they're starting off, where are they starting off right now with the smart city? What the if you go to Mexico City, is there anything that you can see on the streets that you can tell it's a smart city, or is everything behind the scenes?
No, you can see a lot of several things, and one of the things that you will see are the things that you are going to see is that we have improved by a lot our trains, our subway, our a bus named Metrobus. Also, you are going to see that, but for security, we have had a lot of cameras. Our C5, that is the center of the security. It has a technology, and they use reality and virtual reality and some of machine learning in order to review security. What more can I tell you that we have improved a lot in this topic? We have done some levels or study of how to use better the energy. Uh, we have worked in a lot of spaces about redensification, and there are 11 strategic corridors at the city: Historic Center, Tacuba, San Cosme, Chapultepec, Reforma Norte, and other more. That they are working with the Institute of National Housing Fund for Workers in this thing that I told you. Some of the floors, the floors are not very high as cities as some in California or on other parts of the world, because the floor that we have, as I told you, is a very flat floor. With these strategic corridors, with the Institute of National Housing Fund, are working to use a more recyclable and more more recyclable, but also more resistant material, in order that there could be more taller buildings. At 4 years ago, if you came to Mexico City, there were some high buildings, residential buildings, but not as a lot, for 29 million. Now it's becoming very common to find every day more taller buildings. I think that there are the more strategic things that are working the government.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you. So you can see some things in the city, and you can see some construction going on. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of construction going on in a lot of high-rise buildings. They're building a lot of taller buildings, but Mexico City also is in an earthquake zone, right? So you got to be careful of the construction of too many.
More than the earthquake zone, it's these two factors: earthquake zone plus the buildings are in the at the downtown of the city. I remember the story of Mexico. Mexico City was building by the Aztecas at the Gran Tenochtitlan, and the Gran Tenochtitlan was it was a lagoon, a laguna, a lagoon. The floor was like very floaty. So if you zoom these factors, this is why the earthquakes are strong here. But the people in architecture and the people in sectors of energy, of of building houses, and the people that is in that areas are getting to find a better and resistant material, and in order that they have this and they do more prototypes, these buildings will have the possibility to exist. They are existing as are already, as I told you, 4 years ago, it was very strange to find a lot of residential buildings taller than 5, 7 floors. Now it's getting very common, and this will be that the prices of the housing goes as taller. The prices are going to become cheaper, and the people will have or will the possibility to have more benefits of a smart city, as good energy, good wireless, good every hospitals, etc., etc.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay. I'm going to add to the stage Miguel Marin. So, thank you for coming on, Miguel. So, we were just talking about the smart cities with Sophia. How are you?
Hi, David and Sophia. I'm very good here in Guadalajara.
Great. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, great. Thanks for coming on. Yeah. So, so we're talking, and it's good timing. We're still on the subject of smart cities, and we're just talking about Mexico City, and how Mexico City is transitioning. Is going to take a while, but Mexico City is one of the leading smart cities in the world, and in Latin America. And we want to talk and get your opinions on your thoughts on smart cities in Mexico, and how they and you can introduce yourself.
Well, I know a little bit about this topic because a few years ago I was living in Europe and I met an organization that is the OASC, the Open and Agile Smart Cities. It's an initiative of the European Union, and we started to know more about how these technologies are merging with the extended realities, and that was the matter that I was there because I was starting a lot of the use cases for implementing this in Mexico. And one of the cases that are interesting for metaverse and smart cities are about the urban planning and simulation. That is one of the things that I think that a lot of cities are working on. Also about the data and analysis, because we are trying to simulate with a lot of data that we have in Guadalajara, how to improve the urban planning. There's a city in Jalisco. Jalisco is the state, and the capital is Guadalajara. And Tequila is another municipality near to Guadalajara, where Tequila is from. There, the authorities invested in some technologies to implement the smart cities initiatives. So they are just case by case. They are using the data for planning and the parking stuff there, because there are a lot of people who visit the Tequila municipality, and there's a lot of tourism there. So they use a lot of data to plan their public services and also the parking stuff. So other thing that another topic that is important is about the education and training, because here in Guadalajara we are using a lot of the metaverse technologies to educate people about many topics. One of those topics are about the women harassment. There's a lot of education things for people who don't understand the risk and some situations, and there are a lot of use cases about education and training for simulate very important things that we have to know more about. Also, there's a lot of experiments with some institution about implementing the digital twin technologies. There's a very interesting thing about to explore, because here in Guadalajara and in the Jalisco state, there are a lot of industries, there are a lot of manufacturing industry here. And we are working in some cases with some companies here to understand the better way to, the best way to implement these replicas of the physical objects and the virtual processes. And I saw the other speaker who is in NVIDIA company. We are trying to implement the Omniverse initiatives. We are starting to know more about those technologies, and also with artificial intelligence, we could create more specific use cases for trying to understand better the smart cities things. Are you there, David? Hi there.
Question? Yeah, my question was, you talked about the Omniverse. Is there a difference between the Omniverse and the Metaverse?
Well, NVIDIA has this initiative. The Omniverse is an initiative to use the artificial intelligence to take some use cases about how to implement the digital twins. That's what I'm on this comment.
Oh, okay. Thank you for clarifying that. And okay, that's very interesting. So you're in Guadalajara, which
Yes.
is not too far from Mexico City. But could you? So what is Guadalajara doing with smart cities? And are they working along with from the central government of Mexico City? What's the relationship between Guadalajara and Mexico City and smart cities?
Well, there are some different. It's more about the politics, because there are different parties that are governing the both states. In Mexico City, you have the federal government, and they have also a local government, but there are not good relation with the federal government here, because it's different party. So I will abort and I will take this approach with the local things that we are working. And I will talk about our community, because I don't work in the government, but I help government to understand these initiatives. So it's very different approach, because we are in a very initial, like a very initial proofs or understanding the very potential use cases to implement this. But we have in Tequila, Jalisco, as I mentioned before, it's very interesting use case, because we are starting to collect data. This is I think that one of the biggest challenges, because if you don't have the data, you cannot simulate, or you cannot have like a standard or like a minimal requirement to implement these technologies. So we are making a lot of different kind of use cases to unify data here. And in Guadalajara, the important thing is that the government is investing in some initiatives here. And one of the most important is about the public transport, because Guadalajara is also is the second most important city in Mexico, in all the country. and we have like 8 million people here in Jalisco, and just in Guadalajara we have 5 million people. So the problem is very huge here, because it's growing a lot, the city, and I think that the government is starting to understand how to plan a better cities, not just to put in the trains and the very fancy ecosystem of transport in the city, but understanding that the core is a better quality of life for people. So they are using, I think they are using, and they are simulating with some technologies and some data that they are collecting, how to improve the better planning of the city. So this is one of the things that I've been working with the government of Guadalajara, and they have their own like partnership with some institutes here in Guadalajara that are more related with the computer science stuff, and they are working in hackathons and open innovation to improve the initiatives that they are working on.
Okay, so Guadalajara is kind of being used as a test city, because it's not as big as Mexico City, so you can do you have more flexibility, and you can do more testing, and as you're experimenting with smart cities, and you're starting off using transportation. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Most is about the transportation thing that I've working with government, and I have some friends there, and those are very important initiatives for this particular government.
Okay. So they're focusing on transportation, and so are they? When you say they're focusing on transportation and smart cities, are they implementing things that are like EVs and things that are like saving energy, or they're trying to look at different traffic routes and where people live, so they can allocate the resources more efficiently?
I didn't hear your question because I had a lag. Sorry.
Oh, sure. Okay, I'll repeat it. Basically, you said they're starting off and using transportation. So when they're using transportation, are they using it to make the transportation vehicles more efficient? Are they using EVs, electronic vehicles, or are they trying to look at the transportation with the different traffic patterns of the community, and where the resources and the transportation needs to have like more buses and more trains in certain parts of the city? Is that how they're using the smart cities? How are they using it?
More or less. Well, there are like four important. I think that there are four core pillars of this, because you have to unify like the architecture of the data that you will collect, and also the devices that you will have to implement. So the first initiative that they made is I think there is a good idea. It's like a universal card for all the transport, because they implemented the first initiative that they implemented here is like a universal card for all transportation. So they are investing a lot in new infrastructure about trains. They are investing in a lot of infrastructure and devices to I don't know, to measure all the data. But the most important, I think, is to define like the architecture of all the data, and they are working on this, because we have it in a very initial state of implementation. So they unified all the transport in one transport card for all the people. So I think that this gave to the city like transparency, because there are a lot of there there are a lot of different kind of transport, but they didn't have a lot of transparency. So I think that was a very cool initiative, because as they unified this, you can know more about how the resources and the things that are happening there are working for improve the transport here. Also, as I mentioned before, I don't work in the government, but a friend of mine told me that they are planning to improve some areas in Zapopan. Zapopan is another important area here in Guadalajara. Is it's like another neighborhood of the city, of the whole city. There are 5 municipalities in all the metropolitan area, and Zapopan is where we have the fancy part of the city. So I think that there in Zapopan is a lot of initiatives there, because they are planning better their cities with the data. But it's a very far project, like 5 years from now. They are working with data to make another part of the city and to bring better services there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's I like that. That's a good start. Yeah, to bring transparency and bring trust to the people by giving them a universal card that they can use everywhere. That's a great idea. That's a great concept. And then from there, yeah, then you can do and test and experiment with different types of approaches to gradually bring the technology to people. Yes, and we're going to bring back Sophia to the stage. I think she wanted to talk a little bit about what Mexico City is also doing. Sophia?
Well, Mexico City did a very amazing initiative about smart cities in August, and it was very big, and it has a lot of different topics of what smart city has. For one topic was building, as we talked before. The other one was about security, and in this thing, I think I told you that at the the C5, that is the center of intelligence at the city. They are using new technologies, and also about using new technologies. They have specialists of data, and as you may know, data is the new gold. So in this aspect, also I used to work for government, Mexico government, federal 10 years. Then I was director of one big area of the subway at Mexico City, and I can tell you that I read a lot of what mobility has become at the city, and it's very amazing that you can see one of the biggest public transportation is Mexico City. It transports 5.5 million people every day. That is this is the size of cities as Monterrey or Guadalajara, and we just have this population for the subway. Also, the second one is Metrobus. Metrobus transports already two the 2.7 million people every day. Metrobus has become electrical, and also some of them electrical. They are improves of that, and also they are using these metrobuses of two floors in order that more people can have the possibility of going. They are deposit of vehicles with no motor, as bicycles or other kind, and you can rent them, and you will find more deposits of them, because you can rent a bicycle, then maybe use for 5 kilometers, 3 kilometers, and in the deposit, when you finish your route, you can you can deposit that bicycle over there. This at the beginning there were few, and every day you can see more deposits of this style at the city. As I told you, the wireless, but it's yeah, we have a public wireless. The problem, as I tell you before, was that it doesn't function very well. The reality is what that the when I want to try it, it's very bad. And what more can I tell you? Um, what more can I tell you that we have worked? Well, this, I think that I already have. Well, okay, yeah. The other thing is that the residuals, I don't know how to say, but all this garbage, etc. We are working and do some proof because it's very, imagining 29 people will be living in the same space, so the all the amount or garbage that we made every day, and so it has been a very educational topic, trying to learn to teach everybody in the population, nobody the segment, nobody, no matter the part of the city which when everybody is are, to teach them why it's very important to separate plastics to the other ones, materials. And what more can I tell you we are doing? I think that these are the main important things. As I have told to you, the city and the people that is working over there in this kind of topics is not about people. They know what they are doing, and they have made some amazing problems, ways how to attend this kind of problems to become a smart city. The only thing that I'm going to say once and again, etc., is the time of the complex of the city and the quantity of the people. It's very hard uh, to teach or to give these kind of benefits to 99 million people, everybody living with different economies and in different contrasts. In Mexico City, you are going to find the more it's one of the cities of the world when you are going to find the more extreme contrast about the far of the city, the economy of that people, and the people that lives very close to the downtown and the economical areas. And this is where maybe you can see that in New York, but I'm going to tell you something. New York doesn't New York doesn't have this kind of population, and also the people in cities, as in some cities of American, you use 3 or 4 times kilowatts electricity and energy than per capita every Mexican. So this is why this topic is very hot. Is a hot topic. Everybody needs to be working in this, but in Mexico City has become very complex.
Yes, it's very large. It's I didn't the last time I heard Mexico City was about 20 million. So now it's 29 million.
Uh-huh.
So many people, like you said, there's like almost 6 million people taking the subway and buses, and then another almost 3 million taking buses. So wow,
Uh-huh.
that's very, it can be very complex, and with that many people, it's hard to integrate and hard to get traction with some things. So that's why you said it's going to take until 2050. So now I understand better why it's going to take until 2050.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very complex. Once I began working at Subway, when I began, I left Subway 3 years ago, but once I began to work there, and I know what was the Subway. Well, the Subway by its stance alone, it's the second city more important that Mexico has. more than Monterrey, more than Guadalajara. 5.5 million people over there, transporting there with all kind of business over there is very amazing. Nobody understand this kind of metrics, but once you stay over there and you see what is the subway in Mexico, is amazing. And this is just one way of transportation.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's very interesting. That's fantastic. And I want to definitely get to Mexico City. I got to get to Mexico. It's been a few years. It's been too long, and I want to get to Mexico. I want to get to Mexico City, Guadalajara, and some other of the great cities there. Um, could you talk a little bit about how the metaverses are they using the metaverse at all with this with the smart cities? Are they using because you can take and use metaverse as kind of like what like Neil was saying. You can use like a digital twin, so you can take a mock-up of the city and then use that. Are there any initiatives there with doing that there?
I'm not expert in that topic, so I'm just going to tell you, but in very short terms, the two things and that I know that they are working with metaverse under this kind of methodologies at the city. One of them is at the Center of Intelligence, by reviewing all these monitors of the people in a strategical points. The other thing that I have seen is that in some of the new towers of Paseo de la Reforma, that is one of the most important cities of the city streets of the city. They have work and they have made size of the verticals of new monuments, buildings, etc., with metaverse. I don't listen to you. Sorry, David.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. That's how they're starting to use the metaverse.
Yeah, the only two ways that I know are this one. Maybe it should be a three or four, but I don't have them in at the radar.
Okay, understood. Thank you. Okay, thank you for that. And yeah, we wanted to also bring Michael back in, Mike Marin in, and he had some things to say about. He had some things to talk about what they're doing there in Guadalajara. Mike.
Yes. Well, I was mentioning before that I think of the most important challenges is to help people to understand the benefits of these technologies. We are working more with our community to help people in the understanding of these things. And also, I think that we have to create like a digital citizen, because people have to know more how to apply all the benefits of like a smart city to plan their careers, their understanding of how to recycle the garbage, or I don't know. But it's very difficult if you don't have a very strong community in the understanding of the use or the uses of technologies, also because of the development of these emergent metaverse technologies. If you don't have a very strong community or people who understand better the uses, it's very difficult to implement initiatives. And I think that it's very critical for countries to have a better telecom in their communities. And if you don't have the minimal, you cannot be considered like a smart city. If you don't have a community of people who uses the services or the platforms that you could create. So I think that this is more related with the government and people who work to bring people better services or to plan the cities. And I think that the layer of people in the people of citizens, if they don't understand the benefits, it's very difficult to implement the initiatives.
Yes, it's a right. And that's why we're trying to do these things. Right, education is what it's all about, and that's why we're doing this. And I know that's why a lot of governments, before they can do any initiatives, they have to educate the people who are actually going to use these tools and use the benefits of the smart cities. So they have to be educated at the same before they can even know what the capabilities are and what the potential is. They have to educate the public. So that's something that is not an obstacle, but it's an impediment to implementing these ideas and these concepts as fast as we want to. We can get very excited and we can talk about the potential of it, but if people aren't educated and don't know how to use these tools, then it's just going to be a waste of time, and it's going to be frustrating for everyone involved, and it's going to waste more resources than it's going to help and benefit people with. So it's very important that thank you, Mike, that people get educated and know what the capabilities are. And that's very important, and that's necessary so that that the metaverse and the smart cities can move forward. And as we wrap up, I just wanted to ask you also, Mike. So, what are they using? Smart cities is one thing, but the metaverse and digital twins is something that, as like I was saying before, can help out smart cities, accelerate the education. As we wrap this up, are you seeing any uses of the metaverse with the smart city initiatives that they're using?
Well, it's very complex because, as I mentioned before, if you don't have the data, it's very difficult to make these models or to simulate things. I think that there are a lot of privacy problems here in Mexico because or deputies and senators, they don't understand very clearly the risks about the privacy of monitoring people or about the implementation of this digital identity, of this new digital identity. So I think that there are a lot of initiatives, but they are most related with the academical stuff because I think that the people in the government don't understand the potential of this. So one of the most important challenges here is to educate also government people. It's very difficult for them to understand the benefits and also what are the fundamentals of a smart city. If you know our country, there are a lot of different regions here. We have very big cities like Mexico City, Guadalajara, Monterrey, but also there are very small towns there. But all of cities, all towns, all communities could be considered like smart cities. That is the important question. So I think that if you understand the fundamentals of what is a smart city, you can start to plan the very first initial minimal things that you have to do to implement in your town or in your city, because all cities, all towns have different problems. There are not the same problems in Guadalajara than in Mexico City or in a small town in Chiapas or in Cancun, Mérida. We have very different regions, and I think that the challenge to understand this is to collect the data in all the cities or in all the different kind of regions to understand what is important to solve or to get a better timing for solving problems. I think that this is one of the most that is the most important thing to implement this, because the challenges are very big here. So if you can reduce by simulating with these technologies the time to make better decisions, I think it's critical for countries and all, I mean in Mexico for the cities. So I don't see I've not seen a lot of projects here related to smart cities, but in the academical stuff yet. But if you don't have the correct information, you don't collect the data, the real data, it's very difficult to implement. So that is my comment.
Oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, you have to collect the data and analyze it, so then you can have a better strategy to implement. Yeah. So yeah, the data, always big data comes first. Yeah. Yeah. That's that's logical. That makes sense. Yeah. You have to accumulate the data from the population, and then analyze that data and then implement the data. Yeah, there's
And there's a very it's difficult because there are a lot of privacy challenges here, and our governors they don't understand that if you bring some big companies that put the solutions on the table, but if you don't understand the risks of the man and of the data that they are collecting and the uses that they could do with the data, I think this is one of the most important challenges also, because that's why we have to make a strong community, not just with people, also with the government, also with the enterprises, also with the chambers of commerce, of innovation, the institutes. And that is what we are working to have a very strong ecosystem. That is why we are working with a community model.
Oh, okay, yeah, because you have to have everyone on the same page, from the individuals to the government to the companies. They all have to be on the same page, and it all has to be coordinated in a community model. That's very important. Could you talk a little bit about the community and what you're doing there, Mike?
Sorry, David?
Yeah. Could you talk a little bit about your community initiatives and what you're doing there?
Oh, yes, of course. Well, we founded the community in Guadalajara and in Mexico City, but more in Guadalajara. We have like 1,000 members around Mexico, and the members are related to the academic, also to the enterprises and the people who wants to develop strategies or technology about the Web3 and the XR technologies. Now we are seeing this merging between the artificial intelligence, the Web3, the extended realities, the IoT, and the applications with the smart cities, and the application of the metaverse in some critical industries. So our community is in this stage of helping other organizations to understand the benefits and also the risks. So we are trying to implement a lot of use cases from retail industry. We are working with institutes to implement in their own careers, like administration careers. Yeah, David, your mic is making a lot of sounds, crazy sound. So we are testing a lot of use cases in Mexico. We have our initial Metaverse store. We partnered with Tucanet, that is a local brand in Guadalajara, and we make this Metaverse store not just in the Metaverse. This is like a physical store. We have 2 stores in one in Guadalajara and one in Mexico City. And we are trying to understand the benefits of the loyalty programs with NFTs and crypto technologies, with these virtual clothes, virtual avatars, and also virtual influencers. It's a very cool stuff. We also working with these technologies to help homeless dogs and pets. Also, we are building a very strong community there. And then we are working with the agro industry here. We call it the Agroverse initiative. So this is a very cool initiative because we are working to build a decentralized marketplace, and then we organize events, we organize forums here, we organize hackathons or marathons, that we call it marathons, to improve with open innovation how to make very impactful use cases here. So our community is built with developers, academic people who are in the BCE industry, people who is in the government, and we are trying to build like an ecosystem of innovation with using these metaverse technologies. So our social media is Metaverse Mexico official, and I don't know, there's the very brief of our community.
Oh, thank you, Miguel. Thank you, Mike. And Sophia, you wanted to add some more comments, Sophia?
Just to finish, thank you very much. Just to finish, I just want to say that the efforts of smart cities, you will find better and better and going to make more easy in cities as León, Querétaro, Puebla, and other kind of cities in Mexico that has environment less complex. Already some of them are very advanced at the country. The 4 cities that has named that has some elements of smart cities are Querétaro, as my partner colleague said, Smart Tequila in Jalisco. Another one is in Puebla, Smart City, and the other one is Ciudad Maderas. And also, I want just to finish is that as a nation, we lack a program at the federal level that promote this kind of cities and function this kind of guiding framework. There are not like as national strategy for smart cities program. We don't have yet something like that. Also, we don't have like financial instruments or even bonds or something to accelerate this kind of process. But what I'm going to tell you that Mexico, it's a lot of potential to everybody that wants to participate in this industry. Mexico has a lot of potential to have a lot of smart cities because Mexico has these 2 reasons. One of them is that Mexico has, as you may know, clear problems of security and mobility, and with smart cities and also using new technologies as metaverse, blockchain, etc., they are going to find. I'm pretty sure that they are going to find clear solution of technologies. And the other one is that Mexico has a lot of the cities with a vocation, with a vocation about service, such as these tourist sites. Remember that we are one of the countries with more visitors, international visitors to our country. So these tourist sites using technologies will have the possibilities of promoting their advancements using technology. And thank you very much, David, to participate at this forum.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much, Sophia. And that's great to think of, to talk about the test cities and the smaller cities. So thank you for reminding and bringing that up. That it's not just the large cities like Guadalajara and Mexico cities, but there's other smaller cities that you mentioned, Puebla and some of the other ones that you mentioned, that are like test cities. and they're testing grounds for smart cities. And that's kind of that's a great way to do that, because then you can collect the data like Mike was saying, and be able to analyze it more efficiently in a small city, and then you can test things out, see what works, see what doesn't work, and then move it on to the larger cities like where you're in Mexico City. So that makes a lot of sense, and thank you both for contributing and participating and educating everyone about smart cities, and then teaching us about what's going on in Mexico, because a lot of people aren't aware how Mexico is really moving forward and is using technology. And a lot of people have different impressions of Mexico, but now they can see the positive aspects of what's going on there, and how the government is working together with the communities, and how people like yourself in the private sector are working with the government and working with enterprises to make life better for everyone there. So we appreciate your time, and thank you very much for that. And we want to now get into the next panel. We have two panels. So that was the Smart City panel, and now we're going to move on. Like we said, we're going to move on to the brand loyalty panel. And so with brand loyalty and the metaverse, there are a lot of challenges involved with brand loyalty, and a lot of artists and a lot of entertainers, from Snoop Dogg to all different types of entertainers are doing concerts in the metaverse. And we want to talk about how the people are finding success in the metaverse, and how some people are finding failures in the metaverse, and how we can learn from the failures, and how we can also learn from the success stories. So we have two Adrians on, and they're both located in Los Angeles, where entertainment capital of the world. So they both have backgrounds in entertainment, and they both know about using the metaverse and using the metaverse and creating brand loyalty. So they both have projects, and so I want to introduce them both. And I'll start off with Adrian Rashad Driscoll, and then we'll go to Adrian Wyant. Thank you. Go ahead, Adrian Driscoll.
Peace, everybody, again. Adrian Rashad Driscoll, co-founder of a company called Collimation TV. We basically do three things. We extend the stage, so people that cannot access the in-person venues, we actually create holograms and metaverse elements accessible through AR, VR, and 2D to give them accessibility as well. We also enhance the stage, which gives you the we add augmented reality elements, and we try to change what the typical narrative has been for live concerts, right? And then of course we create the stage. So we create environments and worlds that complement an artist's particular feeling and thought, and basically let the community party inside of the artist's head. So happy to be here. And we'll go to the other Adrian.
Hi, everybody. Happy Saturday. It's great to be here. Thank you so much, David, for having me on this panel. So my name is Adrian Wyant. I'm the founder and CEO of Trueverse. Trueverse is a browser-based virtual reality space that powers content, communities, and e-commerce, or i-commerce per se, immersive commerce. And this is targeted to global male audiences. What we're doing here is we are reinventing and reimagining the world of men's editorial. So if you think of the GQs of the world of men's health, all in the metaverse. What does that world of digital publishing look like in the metaverse? But at the same time, because it does contain a lot of content verticals, allows us to have, for instance, entertainment being one of them, which has hosted the 50th year celebration of hip hop. And so we did a live streaming of a mixtape and also conference related content where music intersects with technology and what the future of music looks like. We are a browser-based platform built in Unreal Engine 5. I always like to say we do want to make sure that we're providing a metaverse experience for adults. A lot of the things are being constructed in Unity, it's a great technology, but at the same time, it caters a very, very specific target audience. So the best way of starting to include other audiences that do not fall in the alpha generation, if you will, we want to make sure that we are lowering the barrier to entry with a browser-based platform and also providing a much more photorealistic experience. And that's what Traverse is all about. It's about content. It is about experiences. It's about product discovery and communities of interest that are interested in very specific topics.
Awesome. David, do you have questions you want to ask us, or is this just us chatting between each other, or just what's the format for this? All right, I guess we're just gonna chat between each other. So, Adrian, I've seen a lot of approaches, and you said your platform is browser based, which I think is very, very important. Maybe you can touch on the importance of, getting rid of that friction point of an app download, and making the accessibility greater, just because, you don't have to go and delete a video off your phone in order to access an experience.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So one of the things we're seeing, especially right now, we are in a very strange place. And what I mean by that is, on one hand, we're seeing all these great technologies popping up from left to right, whether it's virtual reality, new Google devices from Meta or from Apple. And then at the same time, you have the gaming community. But the reality is, generally speaking, if you talk to any person and you tell them about the metaverse and they have really no idea what that is, they don't even know where to start. They don't even know where to go. So on one hand, you have these great devices, which are, I'm starting to finally see this idea, this notion of the metaverse sort of coming together, because in reality, it is a concept. And the way I look at it is more as an iteration of the internet, of the web, not so much about this idea of the metaverse yet, where I think we're really far away from that. But without deviating too much, the barriers I do see is most people, there's a lack of awareness. And as I already said, where do I start? Where do I go? And why should I go to begin with?
Right.
And then on the other one, we have these great technologies, whether it's smart glasses or goggles, and they're very expensive. And there's also a behavioral thing too, which has to do with how long will you have these devices on? For instance, we know they're pretty heavy. They're not the most comfortable. Right. I mean, I do have them because this is what I do. I live and breathe in that, and I do want to see what experiences look like. But the reality is, most people, are not going to purchase these things unless you're a gamer, unless you are like to have the latest gadget. And then the reality is, how long will you use it? Which that is very important for engagement purposes, right? So that's what I think, that we need to lower all those barriers, given the current situation where we are at this stage of this thing called the metaverse in terms of development. We're in such an early stage. People have more questions than answers right now. But I do believe that sort of things are starting slowly to come together, to crystallize a little bit more what this world of metaverse will look like. And then the other issue that we have is, okay, so one is, where do I go? Where do I enter? How do I access these things, so-called metaverse? But then the other one is the use cases. Why? Why should I go? What is it? Right? Should I go because there is a concert? which is great. Should I go? Because in this case, we on our end, we built something very, very specific for male audiences. And I can get into as to why we did that, right? So what are those use cases that will really drive audiences? I think there is tons of utility, for instance, when it comes to the entertainment world, which obviously you come from that background as well. Tons of utility from not only putting concerts together and getting concerts to people all over the world, right? So accessibility. I see a great use case when it comes to whether, there are artists who are no longer playing because they have passed on, or because they're just not as popular. And that's one of the trends that we're seeing, even in Europe, for instance, the group ABBA, right, is being brought back to life through live streaming, which is great, right? And then you also have the possibility of bringing back, artists that a lot of people still listen to, but they have passed on, right? So how do you bring them back to life? You bring them back to life through avatars, and also by bringing communities and fans that are interested and still continue to listen, right? So one of the things, even we're seeing that playing in real life. So to give you an idea, and this is why we need to look at human behavior in order to develop use cases. One of the trends that we're seeing today in music and entertainment, particularly when it comes to music, and I'm in Palm Springs, California at the moment, right? Not far from LA. And one of the things we're seeing, there was a concert, two things that happened 2 weeks, right? Where all the rock and roll bands from the 80s actually came together and completely sold out, right? And we're talking about the AC/DCs and other, right? So, but there's very interesting. On one hand, you had the older audience, right, when they were teenagers and they were into that. But at the same time, now you have very young people who are interested in punk, rock, so many things that you think that they will be completely dead. So how do you bring those experiences now to other people, which is fantastic. And I think the metaverse provides a huge, huge opportunity for that on the entertainment side of things. On our end, when it comes to Troopers, we looked at an opportunity and a void in the marketplace, and that had to do with this. I spent most of my career in mainstream media, if you will, and I see that you and I have something in common. Whether I think you work with clients at NBC, I used to work at NBC in New York City, anyway. So one of the things that I've seen, I had the opportunity to work with different entertainment properties across the NBC portfolio, from entertainment to sports, multicultural as well. And the reality is that if you look at the world of advertisement, in this particular case, what drove us to create Troopers, if you look at the world of advertisement, if you look at the world of content, and when I say content, not just across legacy media or cable companies, I'm talking about, for instance, video-based platforms like YouTube. One of the things that I noticed very quickly is that, first and foremost, if you're a brand, an advertiser, and you want to reach male audiences, you only get put through two different content buckets if you want to reach male audiences. What would it be? Sports, right? And the other one, if you're trying to reach a younger demographic, it will be gaming.
Yep.
And my question is, what happens in between?
Right.
So that created a great opportunity. And then the other portion is, there's a tremendous success of video-based platforms like YouTube that do over-index in male audiences. And a lot of these one of the things that you see is a lot of the content creators who happen to be male, they really are creating that content that mainstream media is, I don't know if it's unable or unwilling to create to reach male audiences. And what I mean by that, content related to truly elevating the quality of life of male audiences, whether it's nutrition, sports, relationships, wellness. You see amazing doctors creating content that speak to male audiences, whether, again, nutrition, relationships. There are so many subject matters that are being addressed, and that's why they're very, very successful. And so that's one of the things that we're bringing back, but we want to do it in a space that already over indexes in male audiences, which is virtual reality. Right. I mean, if you look at the spectrum of gaming, generally speaking, over indexes in male audiences. So you look at a huge void in the marketplace that male audiences are not being addressed when it comes to content outside of sports or gaming. You have a population that comes together based on interest or communities of interest. Men tend to gather based on interest. That's it, right? And you see that because you see behavior across the Discord platform. You see it across social media platforms. So you see that, for instance, like gaming platforms like Twitch, right? You start seeing a pattern, a behavior translated, what drives male audiences. And then the other one, you look at technology. Especially if you're going to be leaning on or targeting younger demographics as well. So that's what led to Trueverse to really create, to address the huge gap in the marketplace, especially, communities that content is not being created for them. There is no space for that, whether we're talking about, depression or relationships and things like that. Men don't have a space to talk about that.
Sure.
And that's really, I do believe it's a disservice to men. And we have to start taking a strong stand and building those communities. And they are happening, as I said, they are happening on social media, they are happening on Discord. It's very interesting what happens on Discord. It's you find people where there may be a subject to talk about that brings people together. At the end of the day, what people end up doing is just chatting right. about, you hear about people's relationships, you
right.
hear about people's challenges and things like that. So right. There's so many things that indicate that there is a tremendous need for bringing these communities together so that they can actually help each other and elevate their quality of life through content and communities. And obviously we have overlays of product discovery and things like that to introduce to male audiences. Again, male audiences are not just sports or just gaming. There's so much more in between. So that's what we're doing.
I love it. And, a couple of things with that. So there really hasn't until recently, and this kind of, we're already swaying off topic, so we'll circle back to, brand loyalty, but there really haven't been many outlets for male audiences to speak about things like depression and mental health. And, because it was very taboo, right? If you talk about depression or being, even being sad or having any kind of emotion, that's not, this toxic masculine, whatever they put us in, then you were considered, less than a man, right? And then there was a stigma, and now we're finally having that. So I do appreciate just having the safe space for men to be able to uncover. But and this will kind of translate back towards the topic of the panel. I have seen, and I teach a program in Toronto, a scale up immersive. The numbers are actually way closer than you would think for male to female gamers. It's actually, it's almost half. Now, I think when you think of gaming in traditional sense, you think of, the controller, right? And people playing Call of Duty and Grand Theft Auto. But I think it was like, it was almost in the middle. And I'll send that to you. I think it might be an interesting read, but I see there's a lot of female gamers. Now, and it's wild just how much the industry has bloomed and blossomed and became more attractive to both genders. So I think that's cool. But let's talk about the translation, right? Because you have to have, look, brands don't know what they want most of the time, right? They may have an idea of conceptually the vision, right? But as far as implementation goes, most of the time they don't know what they want. I've had so many brands say, hey, I want this VR experience. You can look through your phone and see everything. So you mean AR? And it's trying to give the education, what have you seen has been a very useful tool when it comes to actually educating clients? And sometimes you have to sway so they so you're matching their vision, but sometimes it's not easy to articulate on the client's side. So what have you seen that's been a useful tool to help you translate, what the client wants to actually what the deliverable is going to be?
Yeah, I think, you have to touch different areas of a business, of a brand, right? So there's a lot of education that has to take place. One of them is on the brand side, on the brand marketing side of things, especially when you talk to brand marketers, right? Some of them, they do know where they want to be, and I tell you why that is. and others are basically they don't know how to translate their brand story and brand persona to virtual environments. Because some categories lend themselves much easier to have an immersive experience versus others, depending on what your product or service may be. I think one of the things in this process of education, and as you know, when it comes to dealing with brands, you also are dealing not only with brands direct, but you're also dealing with the advertising agencies. So, and then, it gets a little bit more layered, more complicated with when it comes to that, because you need to make sure that the agency that you're speaking to, they understand immersive technologies, that they don't look at this as a just one-off activation. Or, what is their bigger sort of longer term strategy? Do you want to do just make a little bit noise and say that you're doing something cool so that I can help you drive and create a nice press release and get a little bit of industry coverage? Or do you really are committed to sort of a longer strategy? So one of the things is that I'm seeing a constant pattern is a lot of brands' expectations are the same ones that they have when it comes to Web2. Which is basically they're looking at immersive technologies and they expect to have millions and millions of users consuming that experience. And the reality is something that's not feasible right now, unless you're strictly focusing on gaming platforms where they already have built-in audiences. Some people are taking that approach basically by looking at Fortnite platforms or Roblox, right? But what is confusing to me as a marketer, as someone who has, again, worked with the world's biggest brands and connected it to audiences in different platforms, what is really confusing to me at this point is the activations that they're doing, they really target alpha generation. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with already getting engaged with younger generations. We already know that marketing, that is a long-term strategy. Absolutely. But the reality is, what are you doing for your current loyal customer today? How are you planning on engaging those customers and even older customers, or depending whichever that may be, especially when it comes to retail? That's where you're seeing a lot of activations happening in virtual reality. So one of the things is, to me, it's always like educating them, and you have to change your mindset. And I say you, meaning brands, right? You can't approach things and look at it from that Web2 lens. You truly need to look at it where the industry is when it comes to the metaverse. And then the other questions, meaning also readjust your expectations, right? How many people you really are going to engage? Then the other one is, does your product fit and strategy, can it translate well into immersive experiences? I mean, I would say perhaps a big percentage of consumer products can adjust very easily. But then if the answer is yes, then what's your long-term strategy? And at the same time, can your products translate very easily to 3D assets that can live and exist in a virtual environment? And then the other one, which is the most challenging, is because there are not a lot of use cases or platforms that are driven by use cases. Where do you put your experience? Do you build it yourself as a standalone experience? And then do you have the means, the financial means and investment and the people behind it? Or do you go to a platform, like I said, again, could be Fortnite or any other platforms where you can host and build your experiences. So there's a lot of things that marketers are struggling with. And then at the same time, I think a lot of organizations do not have the teams trained or with the skill set to really start thinking from that spatial perspective, right? In 3 dimensions. How do you create, tangible experiences with purpose that can basically tell your brand story? So,
I'm agreeing with what you're saying. So I think it's very important. I will add, we start with the why, usually in our approach, and you have to understand that everything, and when I say you, I'm talking, the brands, right? it's all a story. Everything's a narrative. Everything, you know, two Adrians talk on a chat, you know, about the metaverse, right? Maybe it's not going to win an Emmy, but it's a narrative, right? And each brand has their own narrative. Each consumer has their own narrative, right? And it's kind of marrying the two. I've always believed that technology should be invisible. Technology should not be something that you have to, you know, a consumer doesn't want to learn technology. Right. That's why people, you know, keep their same iPhone 8 for X amount of years, because they learned it. They know it. I don't want to learn an iPhone X. I don't want to learn an iPhone 14 or 15 or whatever. Like those are friction points. Right. And when you're coming to a technology that most people don't understand, you have to minimize the friction points, you know, by all means. And, you know, an approach that I've seen be very successful, or we found some level of success in, is having the liquidity. Right? Do you want to be in VR? Do you want to be on your phone? Because some people don't want to mess up their hair and makeup with a VR headset, right? Yeah. Some people don't want to, or don't have a VR headset. Some people don't have internet. Like, what are we talking about? You know, like you let people access it, you know, the way that they can, right? And given these parallel access points and verticals, I think is really going to help not only your consumer, but the brand have an ROI or an ROE at least, you know, and build that long-term brand loyalty. Some people want to be in Minecraft. Some people want to be in Fortnite. There's no, why does it have to be either or, right? Put it where the people are, you know, tell the story that's universal, and then just let it be translated through mediums. And I think that's really the approach when you're trying to do something that's going to be sustainable.
No, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of the principles are principles that we apply when it comes to marketing, right? I mean, be where the people are for sure. Follow the audience. Right. Go where they are. But again, I do believe that today, when it comes to that, a lot of the audiences, my question is mostly focused on Gen Alpha or Gen Zers, right? So my question is it true? You know, obviously you can engage them as a long-term strategy. You can sell them 3D assets, whether it's clothing and fashion. You can do so many things, engaging in gaming, so that they start becoming loyal brand fans, right? Right. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the reality is, how do we engage older generations? And I'm talking about millennials. How do we get them interested? Gen Xers, right? I mean, it's almost like this idea of the metaverse, conceptually speaking, it is meant to design, it's a whole new generation of a communication channel that is designed in concept. I'm saying in concept. Right. It's designed to be more inclusive, to embrace, you know, people from all over the world, basically. I mean, the vision is so grand and very forward thinking. And it's just, it doesn't seem that, at least right now, perhaps because it's so early, right? We are working towards that, right? To sort of make it more comprehensive, that more people can actually get access to these experiences. Right. And I think that's one of the things that it's a problem, but at the same time creates an opportunity, because it has to be looked at from the consumer perspective, right? We have to go back to the consumer, and it's like, where are those older audiences? Where are those millennials today? Right? And what experience are they consuming? You know, people, again, when it comes to things like this, it's you know, there's no like the perfect answer. You know, some brands, they are experimental brands because by nature, right? That's who they are. They come across as highly experimental. They're not afraid to do new things. Then you have more conservative brands who are basically, they know they want it, but they don't, you know, they can't find their voice, I guess, if you will, in this virtual environment. Their storytelling, what would that look like in a virtual environment? And then the other one is commitment. These are things that you know, we are at the stage where we were back in, and probably I'm older than you are, but back in the 90s, when, you know, first people were trying to decide, well, you know, should we do e-commerce or not? Back in the early 2000s, because people are never going to buy anything online.
Right.
People are terrified.
Right.
Nobody wants to put their credit card information
Right.
or their banking information. And obviously all that is history. We do it basically. We don't even think about it. We basically, so we're kind of a little bit in that stage right now. There's a lot of questions, and a lot of brands are just, trying to figure out when, what, how, and how to do it. And because that critical mass is not there yet. And that's what I always keep saying for brands. Do not think like this is Web 2 right now.
Right.
You can't translate the same mindset that you're just going to create an experience and you're going to have millions and millions of people. That is the wrong approach. I think the right approach for a brand to provide a solution here is basically tap into your most loyal consumers to give them the best experience in the virtual world.
Right.
This can easily become an extension of your loyalty programs, going back to loyalty, right?
Yep.
Instead of trying to go and conquer new consumers, new customers. And we know in business that always that's the goal, right? Always the goal is to go and acquire new customers. But the reality right now, where the technology is at, the accessibility, it's, I will say, tap into your existing customer base, nurture them, give them a brand new experience, a new way of interacting with your brand, right? Bring in so many other things because you can. So for instance, in our platform, we do live streaming in real time, where we can bring things to people that normally they wouldn't be able to access it. And this is much more interesting than doing it in a Zoom call, right? Or anything like that. You can bring in talent, you can bring experts, you can bring product already for visualization purposes to your unveil it to your loyal customers. Give them some experience they cannot go and get anywhere else or any other brand. It is about truly, I will look at it as a nurturing channel for your existing customers, and see and learn at the same time. Have people interact with new products, with new services. Do you want to test new products? Do you want to test the colors of it? Do you want to test the design? Get that input for your customers. Again, the power and the of 3D technologies today, what they can do, it's incredible. So I think is give your customer a better, greater experience right now, and do it through virtual reality, through immersive experiences, rather than thinking of trying to reach and boil the ocean and get millions and millions of views. That is the expectation that has been for many, many years across media and entertainment.
And you're right. You have to create something of value. And I think when you're looking at millennials and some of the older generation, like hip hop just turned 50, right? And I was at the LL concert, and most people are significantly older than me. Right? Like you think about it, and it's like they're used to a certain way of thinking, and you hear like, oh, cars aren't made the same anymore, and you don't have anything with that's sturdy, and offer them phygital options. Phygital being physical and digital, and listening. Like that's a great play, because maybe they don't understand. Like it was so hard to break this down. Like people say, why would I ever want to buy something digital only? Why would I ever pay money for something digital? And I'm like, didn't you used to buy ringtones? Like, what are you talking about? Like, and that's kind of, the genesis of this, but like, give them, hey, look, you have a digital sweater. I can send you a physical sweater to your door, but like create experiences that don't just, sit in one medium, right? Let's expand it, because, these are digital assets. So it's easy to scale this, once you've actually created that value. And then I feel other people will come and, join, because you created something that you can, me and my mom can both experience together, instead of just saying it can only be her or only me. So I think that's an interesting opportunity for brands to scale and interact with new audiences in addition to their current ones.
And I think that human behavior by nature, first and foremost, when everybody started to talk about the metaverse, and you probably heard and seen a lot of negativity, right, coming in the world. what is this? This is total BS.
Yeah.
You know, this is another gimmick.
Yep.
But the reality is, first and foremost, we need to be aware that a lot of people do reject change and technologies. I mean, that's just human, right? You know, everybody's like, we are overwhelmed with having devices connected to ourselves 24/7. And I say connected to ourselves not because they are physically, but the reality is our phones are, you know, we're glued to our phones, we're glued to our computer, we're checking our emails nonstop. Every single alert that we get, we're just like completely hyper connected. And now we're bringing new devices. Right?
We're adding to it.
Adding to it to the mix. And people are just like, come on.
Right.
You know, do we have the time? Do we have the energy? And do we want to engage again when some people are trying to detach themselves, right. of devices because it's just, you know, not good for mental health and what have you, so many other things. But the reality is what we're seeing today is we have to lower the barriers to entry.
Yes.
Technologies are moving so quickly and advancing so fast that in the industry, we tend to get excited. Like, for instance, when we talk about Web3, right, we're like 3D immersive technologies, blockchain, NFTs, and it's just like people are so freaking confused and rightly so, because you can comprehend the most basic one, which is immersive technologies, the most tangible one, but the intangible ones, the blockchain technologies or NFTs that people don't know how it happens. They're not finding use, right?
Yeah.
So there has to be a almost like, great, what is the utility of all the things? If we were going to talk about blockchain, can we just talk about perhaps a better way of saying, if I buy an asset, whether it's physical or virtual, that I do have this thing that tells me that I'm the owner and nobody else is. As simple as that.
Right.
And then I carry that, and then I can sell that, whether it's the physical. I think there's so much power between going back to mixed reality. I think in mixed reality is the perfect bridge to get consumers and users into fully immersed in virtual world later on, by the way, as a sort of your day-to-day world. So how do we do that? We need to start getting people into the mixed reality, especially the ones who don't want to live in a 24/7 virtual reality world. I think mixed reality, it is the way to go as a transition, as a bridge, if you will. And then at the same time, the other one is bridging people between Web 2 and Web 3. So for instance, one of the things that we did within Trueverse is like we bring a lot of elements of Web 2. And what I mean by that, things, interfaces that people are accustomed to in today's world, in the web. So you're navigating through different browsers, you get browser experiences in virtual reality in an environment that is built in Unreal Engine. Navigation, user experience, very similar in the inside of the environment. You know, resembles a lot of the UX that you're gonna see in Web 2. But that's intentional. That is absolutely by design, because it makes it easier for people to navigate. And then you have obviously younger generations, when they come into our environment, they're like, explanation not needed. Right. From the moment you sign up all the way through, you don't have to tell people that AWSD, this is how you walk forward, backwards, to the side, jump up and down. They know everything and anything, but we can't assume that. And I just don't believe that's the right approach, just to cater to one particular audience. I know it's the low-hanging fruit. I get it. I totally understand it. But personally, I have a mission, which is to be able to bring this to more audiences, more people with different skill sets. Because I believe the vision of the metaverse as a concept is way bigger. I mean, people earlier were talking about smart cities. You know, we're taking this idea of the metaverse to be applied across so many things, basically to be applied for the masses, not only for governments, but for the masses. How do you do that?
Correct.
Right.
And and you have to have this approach with everybody in mind. To your point, you know, it shouldn't matter your religious background, your racial background, your sexual orientation. None of those things matter, because we're at the ground level to where we can build it up to be inclusive, to be accessible, to be something that everybody consumes, and it can be a safe space, right? And everyone's, or not everyone, but a lot of people are very afraid of it because it's something new, to your point. It's something different. It's something, but it could be this utopia as long as, you know, we all have the approach, you know, and that's what the Metaverse Standards Forum, you know, is helping us do, right? It's helping, you know, standardize things. It's helping, and it's so exciting to know that we're at the very genesis of something like this, you know, and to be building and creating and architecting this this next level of immersive and the next level of the web, really.
No, absolutely. And one of the things that we need to start seeing right now, you know, you mentioned the word utopia, right? Which is, you know, it's ultimately that's what the metaverse conceptually was sort of designed to do and to be.
Right.
In a world that is interoperable, where everybody can move seamlessly from one environment to the other one, to different worlds, to different countries, if you will. You know, you can travel to different places, to different cities around the world, interact with different people, cultures, and so on. But I think what we're going to see first, we're going to see a lot of fragmentation, and we're going to see a lot of, because in you know, as we start building use cases and identifying opportunities to create immersive experiences, this is going to lead to a lot of fragmentation. And even though there are, you know, a few companies that they want to be almost like the hub that host all these immersive experiences, and we are really seeing it through Meta, obviously. We're seeing it through Decentraland. We're seeing it through even gaming. You know, even these gaming platforms that we've been talking about, they are starting to develop products, metaverse products, even for B2B, right? Which ultimately, you know, again, I don't know how soon, but probably also in the next 10 years, that's when really real interoperability will start taking place, because we will have volume, meaning we'll have worlds and environments created for different purposes. And then the idea of interoperability, and for those in the audience, I know they talked before in the previous panel, but it's the idea of that you take your virtual persona, whether it's your avatar and even yourself, to be able to operate and interoperate with other virtual environments, right? And so what that means, you carry a lot of things with you. You carry your virtual wallet, you carry your identity, your personality, and so on and so forth. But anyway, right now we're going to see a lot of fragmentation, and so, which I think in that fragmentation may create a lot of confusion,
of course,
for people. So. And I'm not sure if that's going to work in terms of, you know, where to go, what to do, or for what purpose I should be using the metaverse. So, but I do think at the same time, this is the part that I personally struggle with, right? On one hand, we want to create this utopia for everyone and for everybody. But the reality is, from a consumer perspective, are we all interested in the same things?
Absolutely not.
Do we? Right? I know it sounds amazing, this idea of collective world unity somehow, that we all come together to other things. It's a beautiful romantic idea. But are we all the same in terms of interest and behavior? And that's the bigger question. And I think that that's a very real human behavior that you know, we may not all come together as expected. So, and I think now by building use cases, right, individual use cases, we're going to start seeing what people are starting to gravitate towards. Like, you know, on your side, you're hosting, as I understand, live concerts and music, right? So basically, your platform maybe becomes that platform. Exactly. It's like, I really want to watch concerts. I go. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's my destination, right? And it's very clear to me as a consumer that's where I go. I don't go to Meta, Horizon Worlds to do that. I don't go to Decentraland to do that. I go to your platform. And you know, and when it comes to digital publishing or editorial publishing, maybe they do come to the Trueverse, right? Or Men's Editorial. And then obviously, as you know, things people start creating new platforms that mimic your product and my product or whatever that may be.
Right.
Right. And probably they make it better or greater and whatever. Technology, that's just the way it is. It gets better
Right.
over time, and someone comes in and another one comes in perfect.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
it's all good. All that's part of the evolution. But I think we're going to see a lot of fragmentation first, which makes sense. We're all trying to create something to materialize this. And then we're going to start seeing what really sticks and what really drives audiences to interact with things.
Right. And that's we got the signal to shut down, but
okay.
I totally agree. We have to. It's not a tomorrow process, but and I say this often. If you're starting now, you're already late. So brands, if you're looking at this, consider jumping in now, right? With experts who actually know how to translate your vision into a visual. If you're starting now, you're already late. If you wait till tomorrow, you're way behind. And that's just the acceleration of technology. Adrian, can you tell everybody where to find you and plug some of your social media as well as your platform?
Sure, absolutely. Well, you can find me on X at Adrian Trueverse. Trueverse is TROO VS and Victor RS. And then you can also find us on Trueverse, again, TROO VS and Victor RS.io. You can find great content and also connect with us if you're interested in activating and checking out our platform. That's where you can find us.
Awesome. Everybody, Adrian Rashad Driscoll, find me on LinkedIn. Let's chat. Collimation.tv. That's COLLIMATION.tv. Also find me on Instagram at Driscoll. Hey, other Adrian, it was great chatting with you. Everybody watching, reach out to us. We're here to help. It takes a village of people trying to build this up, and luckily there are cool people doing this. So yeah, just reach out, and yeah, we're happy to help, and we look forward to hearing from you guys. David, are you still around to take us home? There he is.
Yeah, thank you. That was great to learn about the challenges and then what's going on, and especially right now. I did have maybe a few questions to wrap up, but yeah, as we wrap up and we finish this up, so maybe we could talk a little bit about what just happened, right? The 50th anniversary of hip hop. So you're talking about use case. So so maybe you could take us through like the whole process of how I know that they did they approach you, how they wanted to come on the metaverse, or like how did the genesis of the metaverse and the 50 years of hip hop that use case?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, first we were approached by Mike Jones, our production. Mike Jones, obviously, he is in the field of music and entertainment, and is hyper connected with great, amazing artists. So he was looking for a platform to host the release of a mixtape in celebration of 50 years of hip hop, and also to host a panel about technology in music and entertainment. So what we did is we opened the doors to our virtual world of Trueverse. By the way, Trueverse is this incredible virtual reality, super modern architectural beauty design and virtual reality and highly hyper photorealistic, which has a lot of multimodal or multimedia, if you will, pods where we can actually push out content, whether it's live streaming, audio-based experiences, 3D assets. We have different stages. So the house is divided in different environments. For instance, the top of the house where we have the swimming pool, the Zen garden where we normally host content related to wellness, if you will. That's where we hosted the live streaming, but people have the ability to interact not only with others, but with content, and also being able to download the mixtape for instance, if you wanted to do that. And then if you move down to the living room, where we have this, again, incredible living room, you had access to unlock new content, video-based, whether it's music videos from the 80s, right? Reminiscent of the sort of beginning of hip hop. And then if you went all the way down to the garage level, you had more video screens where you can, you still saw in sync the live streaming that you were seeing upstairs, and then also discover and unlock new content and music in different environments. So it was, people were extremely happy. It was very, very interesting to see the reaction of people, happy they were just to be hanging out in this virtual environment that was absolutely photorealistic, and it was very, very easy to access in terms of all you needed to have is a browser, right? So there's no goggle needed. The barrier to entry was very, very low, and you should hear the conversations of people. Not only were excited about getting access to artists, but at the same time just to be around with people who are interested in that particular topic. And this is where we see the success in this, what I always like to call community of interest-based gatherings, right? It's so important. In this case, music and technology brought people together, right? And that's what it really made it a very, very different event, because people are coming here with purpose, and people who are very interested in one particular subject, and that's truly what it made it successful. And not to mention that you could connect and talk to people that were in different places, not only across the country but also across the world. Yeah, that was great.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, thank you. And that was just last week, or about a week ago?
We did it on October 16th. We hosted it at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern time. It was originally a 1 hour event, but it went over because people, kept hanging out. It's almost like a party in your house, right? You have a time and people still hanging out, because I think it blew their minds away how they could be hanging out in such a photorealistic, high fidelity environment. People were really intrigued, discovering different nooks and crannies of the home, and being in this environment. Oh
yeah, it does sound like a lot of fun. I'm sorry I missed it. And with Adrian Driscoll, could you maybe tell us about your last use case, and maybe you could talk about the example?
Yeah, so I'll kind of piggyback off of the hip hop. This is what the PBS special featured, was the hip hop cipher we did with Sway's team. And it was, we do the Techlamert Black to the Future conference every year, and we wanted to give the creators something that they could relate to. So you give hip hop, but like, how do we make it interesting? And Paris came with this idea of, well, why don't we just do an actual hip hop cipher? And then it kind of grows to, well, what would be cool? What value could we add? So then we talked to Guru, and Guru gave us some unreleased photos, and it became a museum, and then we took this subway, and then you add all these layers to it. And, with the team understanding the vision, everyone started having great input, so from Paris to Rashidi to Chrissy B to Sway's team to Guru to Cause and Christie and the rest of our team, like everyone's just has this hyper focus of, we just want this to be as cool and expansive as it can be. And, similar to the other Adrian, like nobody wanted to leave the space. We were supposed to show it that day to, maybe 50 people, and we have hundreds of people coming through. And, because it is an experience. It's something you want to go back, and it's something that, one time is not enough, because you missed something. You're like, okay, let me go back and, oh, I didn't see that. You saw that, and then it becomes more of a social community experience, as opposed to the solidarity that people, associate VR with typically.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what it's all about. And that's
right.
where you're creating loyalty. So you are getting loyal people, and you're getting better results than you thought you would. So that's good to hear. That's good to hear. And I was interested in what you said in the beginning, and one of the things that I kind of think about too is, the how do you get started? So you were saying you start with the why. So maybe you talk a bit, because people and myself included, and I think some other people also, they want to get started, but they don't know where to begin. So and everyone has their own different process. But maybe you could talk a little bit about the development, and you said you start from the why, and maybe talk a little bit about how to get started, and what if some people out there are thinking about doing something similar to what both of you are doing.
Absolutely. So starting with why is, I think, the most important element you can have. Why is someone going to justify putting on a headset? Why is someone going to come to your experience, even if it's 2D? Why, what's someone getting out of it? And I think so many people have rode the wave of the gimmick, right? And it's like, hey, VR is cool because VR is cool. And it's like, no, you putting a headset on doesn't make it a cool experience. You have to create value. You have to have an underlying narrative that that's going to resonate with people, right? So that's the one element. And then it's after the why, then you go to the how. When we started Collimation, we didn't have money. We still haven't accepted any funding. We wanted to build our valuation and prove that this model worked first, right? We saw an issue and we didn't create an issue to be solved. We solved one that had already been created, so looking at what's out there and what's the lack. People talk, you hear the complaints. Oh my gosh, there's no content here. There are headsets that are potentially better than the Quest 3, right? But if they have no content, no one's going to use them, right? So it's finding the issues that need to be solved and then solving them in a palatable way, and then assigning and delegating teams to help you build that. If you can explain the vision enough, people will come together and work with you. We had a ton of people. We didn't have money. We didn't have money to pay them. They saw the vision was great. So they were like, okay, let's build this together. We want to be a small part of something big. And, that's where you start. You start with, why are you doing this? What problem is it solving? Is it tech for tech's sake, or is it actually going to help humanity in some form as a whole? That's the approach that we've found some level of success with.
Oh, okay. Thank you. And Adrian W., do you have?
I mean, it's one of the things that I was saying, when I first started to introduce myself. But the reality is, I saw a big void in the marketplace when it came to reaching or not reaching, basically, male audiences with the right content and the right technologies, and especially younger generations. So for us, looking at problem was, first and foremost, creating content that was not, and going back again, for our situation, we look at stereotypical as sports or gaming if you're trying to reach a younger generation. I do believe that men are more than that. And there's also brand categories, products and services that, again, do not have to be filtered through just sports as a marketing channel or gaming. Right. So that's number one. The other one is, one of the things is understanding consumer behavior. And I'm gonna make some generalizations here. But for instance, the platform, it's a great place for you as a user to come and discover products and services at your own pace. We know that, generally speaking, men despise shopping. Okay? So, but what we think we know about male audiences, and again, I'm generalizing here, obviously there's always exceptions to the rule, is that when we do want to purchase something, we do a lot of research, right? We look at reviews, we sort of keep going back to the same product and looking at different colors and different options. We go even beyond whatever that may be, if it happens to be, if there is information about the materials that are being used, the designers. We get a little bit deeper, not just for the look and feel of it. Once we do all that homework, which obviously happens behind the scenes, and this is why we resort to YouTube to check out who is using it, what's using it, what is it made of, a little bit more in-depth research, then we go ahead and make the purchase. That's it. We don't go shopping per se. We don't walk into malls unless probably someone is going with their wives and family, right? It's being dragged to the shopping mall. But generally speaking, men don't like to do that. So this is an insight that we wanted to do, is basically when you are in Trueverse, and this is a problem that we're solving for, is you get to discover products and services placed in real contextual environments. So for instance, if you are in the garage, where are you going to find in a garage? Cars, right?
Tools,
but you discover cars and you get to play with them, interact with them, change the colors, check out the features and things like that. But in a way that what you as a consumer, as a user, you are in charge. This is not being pushed to you like in Web 2 through some algorithm that is forcing you to see a product or a service.
Right.
We know that we don't like that.
Right.
So we want to create an experience where you interact if you want to, right? If you're curious, if it drives your curiosity, and then you learn about things, and then you do have the opportunity to go ahead and purchase it. That's just to give you an example of how you start. We started with a problem and knowing consumer behavior and trying to solve for something for a particular audience. And then the other one, as I mentioned, this is about communities. Men connect with each other based in like-minded communities. We don't really care. And again, you guys are guys, so you can, contradict me or sort of validate this. I don't care who you are. We come together based on interest. You're interested in this. It's like, come on, this is our space. I want to connect with like-minded communities. Right. Whether you're going through a problem or experience, but that's all you care, really. I mean, and so we're creating content that is relevant, that is not your traditional stereotypical content, namely, as I said, sports and gaming. We do work with athletes, though, because we're interested in content. We're interested in the lives of athletes. We're interested in their journey, how they got from point A to point B. So, which is something that can be shared with communities, right? Without, walking and steering away from our main goal, which is basically to elevate the quality of life of male audiences globally, right? So we want to make sure that our content drives and empowers people to be better, basically. And then also helping solve problems that they may not have the space to do that, and connect with like-minded communities who are going through similar experiences. One of the things that, again, going back to men behavior, the reality is sometimes we don't do a lot of things because we just don't have that space, or we don't have the place to share our experiences and our challenges, right? But when you hear somebody else who's living similar, and it's like you're no longer feeling alone and you're not by yourself. And sometimes perhaps that's all we need, right? We need that. This is not what we're going through in life, whatever that may be. It's only happening to us, and finding that sort of community, that like-minded community. So we're creating this space with those issues that we're trying to solve for global male audiences. So everything comes back to a real problem, a very tangible problem, and we are creating this space in a technology, if you will, environment where people are already. Going back to what Adrian was saying, go to where people are. So we're building this, utilizing immersive technologies to do that, to connect audiences through content, product discovery, and like-minded communities.
Okay, and then you're still using the concept of how. In this case, how men take and have common interest in sports and like gaming, and you're taking that same kind of concept and bringing it over to spaces where it's not gaming and not sports. So you're still working with the same consumer habits, but you're analyzing them, and then you're applying that into a new space.
Absolutely. So again, looking at consumer behavior, across different things. And then the other portion is, what's in it for brands, if you will, right? But first and foremost, we're interested in building audiences and communities. Because if you don't have an audience and communities, you don't have a product, right? You have nothing. And so the way you sort of build the ground or the framework for brands to interact with these audiences is by building these communities, creating these events and experiences where brands can show up, and then also creating the space, the real estate, virtual space for brands to showcase their products and services, which are the different environments. So you bring all that together, and that's how you start truly creating value. Not only you're creating value for communities, in this case, global male audiences, but you also now creating value for brands to put their brands, whether they want to release a new product, they want to give the first look and access to again, new products and services, or they want to nurture their audiences by hosting ongoing events and experiences and continue to provide value to their existing customers per se, but all based in interest. So as I say, we have content categories. Again, we don't have the sports, right? I always like to say, leave that to Barstool, right? Or to any other things, which is fine. We're not trying to be that. But we're more interested in content categories such as wellness. Wellness means a lot of things to a lot of people. For men, means nutrition, means mindfulness, means meditation. And we, for instance, when it comes to investment, what does it mean for a younger generation? It means cryptocurrency. It means virtual reality. It means new technologies. It means sustainability. It means a lot of things. So we're still focused on content verticals that are relevant to younger demographics per se, but we also continue to use these environments to bring, for instance, when it comes to lifestyle, whether it's food or nutrition or fashion, this is a place where you can actually discover new products and services as well, and bring, again, like-minded communities. So it's a new world. It's, again, I like to say it's digital editorial, digital publishing reimagined for the metaverse, because eventually everything that exists in Web 2, everything that exists in browsers, experiences, or content will be soon transformed and migrate to immersive experiences. So this is a great way of not only to experiment, but to start basically building out your brand presence in virtual reality. And I shut up.
That's very.
I can talk for hours around this. This is something that I'm very, very passionate about. As you can
Thank
tell.
you. It comes through. Thank you. That's great. We wanted to, as we wrap up, we wanted to do some. If we wanted to do some presentations. So Adrian Driscoll, could you want to share your screen? Do you have your website? Is there anything you want to present?
I'll go last. Yeah.
Okay. So other Adrian.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what I've done is, because I'm working off an iPad right now. So what I did is I shared the link to where the demo is. I sent it to you, David. So I'm not sure if you're able to showcase that.
Okay. Well, okay. Let's see. You emailed it?
I emailed it to you. Yeah. It's just a YouTube link to a YouTube video, which has the. Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Maybe I can just. Okay.
And if you could do that in a screen share, that will be amazing, because it's very difficult for me right now to do it. Almost impossible.
Okay. It's on YouTube, right?
It is on YouTube. Yeah.
So maybe I do have. All right. TROOVRS.
I sent you the link. Probably that might be easier.
Well, let's see. Yeah, because I'm having some problems with my. All right. I'm having some problems with my. But I think I can.
For a second, and I see if I can.
I might be able to. Yeah. I can get YouTube up, and then I can share the YouTube. Yeah, I can do it. Oh, okay. right, so let me see if this works. All right. Okay. So.
Do you have it?
Yes. Yeah, I can. I pulled up on YouTube. I'm just having some problem here with my Wi-Fi here.
Wi-Fi here.
And I can send it right here via the chat. David, I just put the video on the chat.
Okay.
Or David, I'm David. Adrian, is there a way that you can play that YouTube video and screen share yourself?
Yeah, I'll do it for you.
Thank you.
I have it. I think it's coming from David's side. Maybe. There we go. No, maybe it's your side. Adrian.
I sent the link via the chat.
No, I have the link. There's just an echo.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. There we go. Okay, I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird echo. Okay. I don't know. I'll include it when I share it. Let me see.
I can hear you with no issues.
Okay. Share screen. Share audio. Okay, let's move you to this other monitor. Cool. Trueverse. All right, there we go. Share system audio. Sweet. Can you see this? There we go.
Oh, there you are.
Okay.
Welcome to Truth, the future of editorial publishing reimagined for the metaverse. As a purpose-driven platform, Trueverse provides male audiences with virtual spaces and diverse content focused on practical knowledge, self-care, and transformative experiences, all built to impact the quality of life positivity. Let's explore the features that make Trueverse unique. Accessing Trueverse is easy, convenient, and browser-based, with no need for special VR devices. The Unreal with awe-inspiring visuals. We've interoperability and allowing you to customize your content.
It looks like there's some technical issues.
Everything is relevant to context, enriching your
Adrian.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, it's just no, it's getting cut off and
It's lagging.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Share from word.
Seamless content across different formats, text, images, video, audio. Everything is relevant to your context, enriching your immersive experience. Discover a sanctuary where well-made content and guarded. Connect experts, listen to insightful presentation, and meet like-minded community members who share your passion for improving health. Users can purchase products, discover new brands, actually thematically based with platform environments. Engage in real-time conversation, proximity-based audio, just like you would in real world. As you move to others, your voice is clear, creating a truly immersive interactive experience. This is just one of a 30 other. A simple click, you'll find yourself beautifully designed environment. Explore food and nutrition-related content, join events around the kitchen table, and seamlessly discover and purchase the latest products integrated into each room. Now let's talk about the exciting video features that make Trueverse a unique VR experience. The live streaming video feature lets you watch event-based, expert and creator-driven real-time presentations, giving you the content you love from your favorite creators in an intimate setting. Our avatar video feature lets you engage in face-to-face conversations with others. Discover classes, new shows, and movies, all placed in beautifully built environments. There's no better place to watch newly released content that informs, inspires, and entertains. Thank you for joining us on this Trueverse product demo. We hope you're as excited as we are about the immersive features, diverse content offerings, and engaging experiences that Trueverse brings. Visit our website and become part of the Trueverse community today. Welcome to the future of men's editorial publishing.
Sweet. All right.
Okay. Is David still on?
David, you around?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. It's just a little bit. Okay. So that came up, right? Because I'm switching between screens. All right. So I want to show you that. I want to. So the Trueverse did come up.
Yeah, I pulled the Trueverse up. You might need to mute one of your mics because it's creating an echo in the feedback loop. David.
Yeah, it got cut off the video though multiple times, so I'm not sure if people were able to see it in its entirety.
I think I started it out a little earlier than where it cut off for us. This echo's killing me. David, are you there?
Yeah.
You want to mute your mic? I think that's causing the echo.
Yeah, I shut off my mic.
I don't know what it is then. There we go.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, this is correct. Yes.
Oh, okay. Let me. Yeah. Okay. I was sharing the screen, but I forgot to take I forgot to mute it.
Got it.
So okay. All right. Let me do it. Okay, I can do it one more time. Let me try again. Sorry. Let me go back. Okay. Yeah, there's such a lag. The problem is that there's a lag. The lag is pretty bad.
Yeah, a little bit of latency.
Yeah, I'm trying to. All right, but I did mute it now. But now I'm going to try to. I added it back in, but I won't start it until it gets.
Yeah. So perhaps David, it's just if you wouldn't mind, you can share the link.
Okay.
To the demo with the audience.
Right.
Yeah.
And they can look at it because. Unfortunately, video sometimes is not the best when it comes to over the internet. No pun intended, but we're talking about low latency right now. And speaking about the metaverse, which is one of the biggest challenges.
It really is.
Okay, starting beginning again.
It's not playing right now, David, just to let you know.
David is not playing, and I
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just share if you wouldn't mind sharing the link in the comments section with the audience.
I don't know why I'm getting. It's showing up on my screen, but it's not showing up. Okay, but
Just no worries. No worries. Share it with the people in the comments.
Okay, so I'll stop sharing my screen. I'll stop because I'm having. Okay. I'm me.
Okay, so if we're just sharing the link, I'll do my video. My video is only a minute.
Yeah, go ahead.
If everyone wants to stop sharing, let's go here to present. Share screen. Yes. And this just gives the vibe and a couple of samples of some of what we've been doing in the past that's worked well. All right. It says it's sharing. It's not up yet, though. The latency is pretty bad. There we go. Oops. Probably want to hear audio, huh?
Moments just happen once. Some moments just happen once. If you're lucky enough to capture that moment and share with the world, oh, that's what magic is.
At Collimation, we create experiences from AR to VR.
It's the reason why we don't call this just a music company or just a VR company. It's a complete entertainment company where the fans can connect with you the same way they did in the live show. But we also want to broaden that experience just a little bit. It's not just a live show. There's so many other things that can be done because of the fact that we're doing it virtually.
You come in, you watch Rhapsody do a performance. We built out a sort of like a pseudo Brooklyn park, or just some environment that you had to get through train.
We can perform anywhere. We can put it in any type of surrounding, not just a venue. We can have friends come and experience those and be able to chat with each other at the same time that they're still experiencing this with hundreds or even thousands of people.
There you go. Short and sweet.
Nice.
Very nice. Thank you. Okay. I am having some problems here. I apologize for my latency and my Wi-Fi difficulties at the end. I'm having some problems with my connectivity. So
no worries.
I guess we're going to just have a few closing remarks. So basically, we just want to talk about thanking everyone for attending. Very insightful. And it's the first one. And we hope to continue this and do more in the future. I'm trying to make sure there's not an echo. Okay.
You're good now.
I'm good. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to thank everyone for attending and thank everyone for coming. Basically, we just want to have some closing remarks. This was the first one that we did, so we got through some of the. We'll get better with the technical difficulties as we move forward. Thank you for everyone for coming to the first one. So we covered a few different topics, and we'll explore these topics and more topics as we do more of these live streams, and hopefully we can get some of these done in person in Los Angeles and other cities in the future. But we wanted to start off here. So we want to thank all the speakers, starting with Neil Trevett from the Metaverse Standards Forum, and both Adrians. Thank you both. And the speaker, and Miguel Matt. Thank you. Come on. Basically what we are trying to do is educate people, like we said, through this education, we're going to be able to get more people into and lower those barriers to the resistance. That people are either have, like you said, there's like a innate fear of the unknown, and we're trying to get past that by doing these events. So upcoming, will be coming up. So my website, CEO Social, I'll be able to. I'm going to drop the link. I'm going to drop the link in the comments. So I dropped Adrian's link in the comments, and so you can take a look at that video at your leisure, so you can see it a lot better. And so basically, CEOSocial.io is my website. So you can check out CEOSocial.io, and you'll see our upcoming events and our upcoming meetups that we're doing. So a little bit about CEO Social as we finish up. CEO Social is we do event production, and similar to this. And then we also do in-person meetups. So we do in-person meetups in Los Angeles and Las Vegas. And we have meetups that help out the community with time-sensitive projects. So a lot of projects out there are looking for strategic partners, looking for investors, looking for different types of team building, so and in a time sensitive way. So we do these events to bring people together who are doing things and doing different projects that need attention, and they don't know where to start, and they want to meet the community of developers, investors, and other business owners. So that's what we do, and we do meetups that we focus with the film and entertainment industry. So we do happy hour Monday meetups, which are free. And we do them in Santa Monica, and we're doing one in Las Vegas here on Monday. So we do happy hour meetup Mondays for the film and Web3 industry, because a lot of people in the film industry and Web3 want to try to work together, but and a lot of people want to use technology in films and content, but that they don't know where to start. So, we have a lot of developers that come to our events, and they meet and they network with people in the entertainment industry. So we do that. And we do these Metaverse Forum meetups, where we talk about the Metaverse. And then we're also going to be doing a preview of CES 2024. So CEO Social attended CES 2023. So we're going to attend CES 2024. But before that, in January of 2024, we're going to do an event in Las Vegas, November 14th and 15th. And we're going to preview CES and the gaming hardware and software companies that are going to be at CES. So we're going to do that event coming up in a few weeks, and we're going to be announcing some other events soon. But what we try to do is bring together the community and help people out with time-sensitive projects that need attention, just like we were just talking about here. So that's a little bit about what we do, and I basically also have the ability to help out companies with accounting, bookkeeping, taxes, crypto taxes. So I use these events as the CEO Social events to also outreach for people who also have problems with their books and records and need attention to make sure if you are looking to raise money, and then if your financial statements aren't in order, you'll you'll never be able to raise any money. So I help people out with their financial statements, and then help them out with their pitch decks, and help them make sure that everything is presented correctly so they can present to investors and to strategic partners. So you can also check out, you can also check out CPACloudTaxPros.com is my accounting site, and you can be able to go there, and we have a simple survey that you could take, and that's how we start the process. There's a survey on the front on the home page. You can fill out the survey, and then we can book an appointment, and we give free consultations. So I do this because I want to reach out to the community, and I learn from other people, from the great speakers who came on, and then I'm able to also provide some help and guidance and offer my skills and my expertise in my field to people who need my services. And then I also get to learn from other people at the same time. So I want to thank everyone for attending and coming on. And what we're going to, and I wanted to also talk about the upcoming event that's coming up in December 6th. The Metaverse, there's going to be another Metaverse event. This one is going to be in the Metaverse. I'm not the host of it, but I'm partnering with the Metaverse Spectrum on their event December the 6th. And they're going to have an event that will be in the Metaverse. And it's going to be revolving around meeting companies. And there's going to be a pitch competition. And there's going to be a lot of different aspects to that event. It's going to be held in the Metaverse on December the 6th. And that should be very exciting because there's going to be a lot of companies there. There's going to be pitches. There's going to be different types of investors and different types of companies that are Metaverse centric and focused on the Metaverse and looking to find ways to grow their companies and by actually doing an event in the Metaverse. So that should be very interesting. And that's going to be also supported by the Metaverse Standards Forum. So we want to thank the Metaverse Standards Forum for helping me out and helping out the other people who are trying to educate and trying to create events. So they're very supportive of helping out people like myself and the Metaverse Spectrum by supporting different events on the Metaverse. So that's some things that are coming up. And we want to just end off by thanking everyone for attending. And if anyone has any closing remarks, you can make some closing remarks.
Adrian?
Sure. Well, once again, thank you so much, David, for hosting this event. It is a true pleasure to be sharing the panel with the other Adrian, Adrian times two. So I think for closing remarks is especially for brands or anybody who wants to sort of start activating in virtual reality in the metaverse. First and foremost, here you have two people who are actually doing it. So between the two Adrians, we can definitely help you to get your feet wet in this thing so-called the metaverse or immersive experiences. We can definitely help you out with different applications and strategies as well. And then the other portion is for most importantly for brands, if you want to get in the metaverse, this is the time to do it. Start building out your immersive presence as you have built your social media presence years ago, and you didn't know how to start or where to start. We are in the very same, in a very similar situation right now. So I'll say, do invest in immersive experiences and start building your presence right now. No matter what you choose, whether you decide to build it as a standalone experience or, creating a partnership either with Adrian or myself or any other platforms that you may be interested in, we're here to guide you through that. And that's all. Immersive is the future. It is right here. And, ultimately what will happen is that everything that we see and experience in 2D, we will experience it in 3D. And that is the true future of the metaverse. So thank you so much, everyone, and have a great weekend.
Thank you, Adrian. And I'll say this. Look, I know that it's a lot. It's intimidating. If you're a brand trying to get in the space, it's a lot to try to consume. So to the other Adrian's point, speak with one of us, speak with someone who actually understands the space and, how you can avoid the gimmick and actually provide value. Remember, it does cost money, but digital assets don't expire. They have no limited shelf life. You can reuse them and repurpose them. And you should always have that in mind when creating an experience, and, go for it. If you're already late to market, if you're just now getting there, if you're just now starting, you're already late. Don't do yourself a disservice by being even later. Don't leave the money on the table. And most importantly, don't cheat your customers, clients, and fans out of a truly remarkable opportunity of an experience and to connect more closely with you. David, you still here? You gonna take us home?
Oh, yeah. Hi, Sophia. Do you want to make some closing remarks, Sophia? Yeah.
No, well, that it's very important that to bring new technologies to economies that are not as developed as United States or other kind of or MENA region, to bring these communities to lack. Last week, yesterday, I was in an event very, very interesting about Korea and lack and the use of how Korea can help lack. I mean, when I speak about lack is Latin America and Caribbean, how Korea can help using and developing these new technologies to this region. So the majority of the audience is American, and the invitation that I want to say is that try to explore this kind of technologies here in Mexico and the other countries that belongs to this region. I will be very glad if I can help someone of you in this intent, in this try.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for that, Sophia. Yes. And same thing here. We want to try to make sure that we're connecting the United States and Mexico as much as we can. I think that's another aspect that I wanted to have in this event. And I'm happy that we had some people like yourself and Mike Marin to collaborate together on this, because it's not just the United States. And we do get that way here in the United States, where we just think everything revolves around the United States, but we can learn from what you're doing in Mexico, and you can learn from us. So that's what this is all about. And so now, as we finish off, I just want to thank everyone again for coming on. And now we're just going to, you can just take a look at the links that we dropped there, and then you can and we hope to see you on, and good day.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.